Oh, we've got two people. Hello, everybody. Hello, Kim and Mark and Annette, and welcome to Brett, who is joining me this evening. How are you
Yeah,
doing, Brett?
I'm fine. It's a bit warm here today and muggy, but apart from that, I'm fine.
Hmm. It's freezing cold here. You'll be happy to know. Although
Hmm.
freezing cold for us, I think today was about 13 degrees as a top where I am.
Yeah.
So that's probably not cold for you.
I was talking to a Kiwi last night and they were moaning it was 6 degrees there. So,
Six.
yeah, I was, I
That's
was, qu-
cool.
I was quite happy to be hotter than New Zealand for once.
Yeah, definitely. Sam will be joining us in a moment, guys. She's just getting her camera and everything ready. So, yeah, we've got a bit of a different stream today because we're going to be discussing paranormal as we always do. But this past week, Brett had actually received a parcel from Australia. Oh, and I have to admit, the echo that we've had the last couple of weeks is actually my fault. I had my settings not where they should have been, and so it was my fault that the echo was coming through. So I'm sorry. But yeah, Brett's got lots of, well, some goodies to have all the way from Australia. So we're
Brett's got the
sharing those.
remainder of a lot of goodies.
The remainder. Yeah, oopsie.
Mhm.
Oh, we had the echo when we came in before we went live, and Brett's like, "You should check your settings, Julie." So I went in and I checked my settings, and it was me. Whoop. Hi, Deidre.
Hi, everybody. I've been sitting there for 2 weeks and thinking Sam's echoing, I'm echoing. Julie sounds perfect. It's got
Mm,
to be coming from Julie's end. That's how you can
yeah,
normally tell the person who ain't echoing is normally the one where the problem is.
I will have to remember that
Hmm.
for future, just in case it happens again. Knowing me, it probably will, because I'm hopeless. So yeah. I don't really have, in regard to paranormal stuff, I don't really have any talks or that planned for this week. Thank you for joining us, Sam.
That's
Hello.
Hello.
a lot.
Apologies for the technical issues
No,
on my
I
part.
apologise from my part. I think it was mainly my fault. So, um, I'm just going through. I had actually asked a couple of questions this week on my channel, and I had a couple of people come through and answer. Okay, so I think it was Jazz last week. Hi, Jazzy. Hi, Julia. Hi, Carol. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Carl.
Hi, Carol.
Hi, Kim.
If anybody, if if anybody would like, don't scare me like that. Oh my god. Oh, kill it.
No.
No, not on. No.
Ew.
Oh, I can't put you on. I can't put her on the floor because Kyra will eat her. Hang on, I'll stick her on the desk. There you go.
Your mascot.
Yep.
Ew.
I just saw movement the side of my head.
I would have been like, out the door. No, no, thank you. Go get a broom.
Oh, she's crawling on my keyboard now.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yes. Insects in our country don't tend to try and kill us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Welcome to Australia.
I know. Yeah.
They just crawl down the flue of your fire when you're not using it.
Do you know
Um,
it will actually be good when this stream is finished today because I can get rid of all the sweet wrappers that I've got littered all over the desk that I've actually kept to show people what I've been eating.
why don't we do that? Why don't we start with that? You can show some of the things that we've sent. Maybe some of the things that you've already enjoyed.
Okay, good. Right. Oh, hang on.
Brett's hilarious. Brett's already been into the box, but I expected that.
This is what I received.
It's blurred out.
Yes, because the background's blurred.
Yeah.
Now
Very
these,
nice.
I've got to be honest, Julie. If you never ever send me anything but these and something else, I'd die happy. There was, I can't remember whether there was actually 6 or 8 of these in the packet. I actually ate them all. These are so Moorish, it is absolutely unbelievable. They come in a little packet with a little plastic spoon, which is actually different to our over here. Our sherbets come with actual, like a little sweet lollipop that you lick it and dip it in, and the sherbet sticks to it. These came with little plastic spoons because I did actually try the spoon to see if it was edible, and then worked out it was plastic.
They're plastic.
But these were absolutely amazing. I've got to be honest.
I find that stuff very sharp, but I actually make drinks from them.
Well, when I first opened it, I did actually wonder if it was meant to be put in water or lemonade or something and drink it. And then I thought, no, I'll try it as it was. And like I say, I actually emptied the entire pack in one go.
It is very Moorish.
Yeah. Now, I do have to tell everybody, the day I received this parcel was actually the day I was supposed to do my first pre-diabetes meeting. And I got this on the doorstep. And when I went to the meeting on the night, which luckily was an online thing, they were going, oh, what have you been eating today? And I just sat there and lied my entire way through it.
Damn you, universe.
Yeah. But then they were absolutely brilliant. The next thing I tried, which we do have over here, but I've never seen these specific ones, are these, which was a Chubba, is it Chubba Chops?
Chubba Chop, yep.
Yeah, this was actually in the shape of a glass of Coke with like a fizzy froth on the top. This again was absolutely beautiful because it was sherbet based again.
Yes.
With the thing, and you know, naughty as it should be with pre-diabetes, I do have a real weakness for anything sherbet flavoured. Okay? Next one was the Smarties. Again, we have these over here, and I ate all these as well. Interestingly, you seem to have them in little square boxes. We get them in little circular tubes.
Oh.
So
we used to get them in boxes way back years ago.
Yeah, but they were like a special thing. If you had them in a box, they're not, you know. But you actually get more Smarties over in Australia than we get in over here in the UK. Because we get them in a tube. There's a lot less in them. What I've got out, the Smarties in here were probably the equivalent to 2 tubes. The Smarties over here. So.
Oh wow.
Can't go wrong with Nestle Smarties anyway. Next thing I've tried with these. Now again, I'm a big fan of eucalyptus. I weren't sure, Julie, if these are meant to be cough sweets or not. But I did actually eat 2. I actually ate 2 bags of them one after.
I eat them year round.
They are absolutely gorgeous. I'll send you a couple of bags of these, Sam, for you to try. If you like eucalyptus, they're absolutely, honestly, they're to die for.
Yeah, they are. They're the best eucalyptus.
The other thing that I ate, which was actually the first thing I ate out the box because I was really dying to try them, was a box of things called Aussie shapes. And they're basically like a baked biscuit with cheese and Vegemite flavouring on them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'll open the box and I'll try one. It was about half hour before Jace was due to get here. By the time Jace got here, I'd saved him half of one to try. I actually ate the entire box and just left him half a biscuit to try. I'm actually going to get buy some of these because I've since found out that the shapes out you can actually buy them over here, but they're extremely expensive. They're £5 a box over here, but I can get them off Amazon. So I'm definitely going to be ordering me some more of them. So far, this thumbs up for the Australian stuff. Right. Next thing I got was fruity sherbet bonbons. I haven't opened these yet, I'll confess. So they'll be one of the things. I'll try one of these a bit later on while we're talking, and then I'll let you know what they're like.
Yep.
There's my big bag of eucalyptus. I did actually get 2 of these, and as you can see, that one's open and half eaten, so we won't discuss that at the moment. This, Jace went straight for. He thought it was a can of Fanta.
I knew he would.
There are actually socks in there, but I haven't opened them yet.
Yep.
Because I wanted to save them until actually after I'd showed everybody. But there's actually a pair of socks in there. Jace tried to grab this out of the box thinking it was a can of Fanta. Another pair. I absolutely love these. Got a pair of kangaroo socks.
Oh, cool.
With
nice colour.
Yeah, with them. Well, you'd like them, Sam, because they look Irish. But they have actually got a map of Australia behind a box in kangaroo. So I think they're brilliant. I'm going to wear them.
Had to send like souvenirs.
These, again, I haven't opened yet. I presume these are like a nuggety type mint thing. We have a. I wish I stopped blurring out. There we go.
There you go.
I believe we've got something very similar over here. But I don't think they're called minties. But them I'll be trying as well because, again, I love anything mint flavoured.
It's like a very firm taffy, but it's mint. They're really good.
When I first saw this bag, because it was just sticking out the corner, I thought you'd sent me some cocaine. Because all I could see...
Oh, no way!
All I could see was the top of the bag. And a lot of people over here use those bags for illicit substances, Julie. I don't know whether it's the same in Australia.
No, there's sandwich bags here for kids.
But they do over here.
Yeah, that's definitely an evidence bag.
Or a sample bag.
Mm.
These, I think, again, are little nuggety type things. And from what I can see, there's like strawberry flavoured and orange and everything in there. So I haven't opened them yet because I know once I start on them, I ain't going to stop.
The orange ones are called sherbies because they have sherbet in them.
Yeah.
They're
so
good.
I haven't opened them yet.
Yep.
But I did get a bit concerned when I saw the corner of that bag sticking out.
No, oh my God.
I thought you'd sent me a big bag of Coke.
I was wondering, is there customs tape on the box?
There is, yes.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, it went through customs here and in the UK because I was tracking it. I knew when it was going to get to Brett.
Yeah, it was definitely open, so...
These I have been saving. I have been dying to eat these. And they're little packets of Vegemite. Over here we've got what they call Marmite, which is a similar thing, but it's made out of a yeast extract.
Yep.
But Vegemite I absolutely love. So, but Jazz, there's no diet. There's no diabetes control either, so I wouldn't worry about it. But them I'm really looking forward to trying because I absolutely love Vegemite. This we get over here, but not normally in bars this big. Now I've got to be honest, this is for Jason because I don't like crunches. I don't like the honeycomb thing. I think it's a bit horrible. So, but Jace has already eaten the other one. I had a picnic as well, which I've noticed has disappeared. So Jace has already eaten that one.
Go, Jace.
But Jace is getting that one. I also had a box of cornets with sherbet on the top. Again, I didn't eat those because they've got marshmallow on, and I'm not a fan of marshmallow. I gave them to Jason's mother, who ate the entire box in one go.
Oh, did I send sherbet cones?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, I've got a box of sherbet cones. This I've saved specially because it's called a Yowie, which is the same name as my bearded dragon.
Yep.
And I believe it's similar to a Kinder Egg, so I'm going to eat this while we're on stream in a bit, so you'll have to excuse me. But apparently this has got a little toy inside it and it's chocolate on the outside. I ain't sure who makes it.
The Yowies. I'm not sure either.
Believe it or not, it says it's actually made in the USA.
That's weird, because Kinder is banned in the USA.
Yeah, and they've got exactly the same thing here called the Yowie.
Yeah, with little toys or
so
something.
I'll put in that at the front because I'm eating that next. These, now dairy milk is actually made in the town where I come from in Birmingham.
Oh.
But we don't get, these are called, is it Carmelo Koala? We get what is called a Freddy Frog. So where you've got them in shape of a koala bear, ours are actually in the shape of a frog. The difference is these have got caramel in the middle of them, which are really, really nice. I have eaten one of these, I will admit. There was two. Yeah, there was two in the box. There's now only one. But I actually say it's great now because I can eat everything in the box now. I've showed everybody what I got. My favourite chocolates. Maltesers.
Oh, is it? That was lucky I got that.
These we actually get in a slightly larger box, or you can get what's supposed to be a family box, but I tend to eat to myself. Maltesers we have over here, but these are absolutely gorgeous. Again, they're like a chocolate with a, I don't know what it's actually. I don't know what it's actually. It's like an honeycomb type thing in the middle.
Yeah, like a malt honeycomb.
Yeah, malt honeycomb. They are absolutely beautiful. I've been saving them as well because I wanted to eat them when I first saw them. Chomp bar. Now again, I think this is chocolate and nougat type thing. I ain't sure with caramel.
Yeah, like a chewy caramel. Yep.
Yeah, I believe we may have these over here, but I ain't sure.
Yeah, we do in different packaging.
Yeah, again, this is some that Jace was sniffing after, so I had to, tell him he couldn't have it. I've just found another one. I didn't realise that was in there.
Yeah, there was two.
This is a yellow flavoured one, so that's going at the front because I'm going to be eating that while we're on stream as well as the Kinder thing. So you'll have to excuse all my eating.
Do you know, maybe you should minimalise me and make Brett bigger so everybody can see the products,
I've nearly finished now, Sam.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Thank you.
Another chomp bar.
Yep.
Oh, I've got 4 Marmites. I thought I'd only got 3. This, I haven't opened yet, but it is actually, I presume, a flag of Australia.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm seriously considering putting this in my garden with my bird feeders. So when the new channel starts, it confuses everybody why I've got an Australian flag on a UK bird stream. But I'm seriously considering fitting that to my bird table. But I didn't unwrap it because I wanted to show everybody how everything arrived. This I absolutely love.
Oh, cool.
It's a koala bear. Now you can't actually see, but his one eye had fell off, and I can't find it in the box, Julie, to be honest with you. But Julie said you can stitch it back on, and I said no, I'm keeping him exactly the same as he is because, like me, he's fell apart. And him, I thought was really lovely. So he can finally now sit on my desk where he's got to sit, and he's going to sit under my microphone. So he'll be living forevermore on my desk. This is my favourite thing I got. This is going on the wall. This is my boomerang, and that is actually engraved into the wood.
Yeah.
And I've been informed that these have come from Sydney Zoo, which makes them even more special for me.
Yes.
Right, and the last thing I've got in the box. Oh no, sorry. I've got a few more. Julie actually sent me a picture of your version of the Yowie.
Oh,
And it's actually got a very nice message on the back of it.
From South Australia, that was.
Yeah. She sent me a picture of a mausoleum. I don't know what she's trying to tell me with this one.
No, that's Rookwood Cemetery, that one.
Apparently, she visited here in April of 2021. And that I believe, is in Sydney, Australia.
Yep.
This, I love. It's like 3 separate scenes from Australia. I'm considering getting this blown up and having it framed on the wall. Because I really...
cool.
Yeah, that is 3 really nice pictures on there. And then this is Mount Oriel. Did I pronounce that right?
I think so, yep.
And it's the Iandra Homestead. Yep. Again, it looks like another beautiful property in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I got was this. And I'm not going to read it out because I'll be honest with you, when I opened this, it made me cry.
Mm.
But there's a really nice messages in there from Julie and the kids. So that is going up on the wall as well. I'm actually going to try and get a frame and get all this lot framed. So that basically, folks, is what I received from Australia. Sorry, I can't show you the shapes box because I accidentally threw it away and then realised after what I've done. But I found out that I can actually get it, and they are £5 on Amazon. They are really expensive, but I am more than prepared to pay £5 for another box of shapes. But can't thank you enough for all that, like Julie. It was really, really nice, and there's some stuff in there. Apart from the sweets that I'm going to disappear rather quickly, you know, there's some things in there that I can literally treasure for a lifetime. So, thank you very much.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
And there you go. So that's my little bit of Australia I've got again now, apart from Yowie.
Oh. Yeah. Oh. I'm keeping a note of everything that you actually like, and I'll have to, before I send anything else to you guys, I'm going to have to sit down and find out what you have over there. So the things that I do send you next time are going to be new for you. So
I'm just eating Yowie.
There's this car channel on in Australia called Mighty Car Mods, and they have a second channel called the Unicorn Circuit, where they sit down on a couch and they talk about cars and stuff. But they've got this section in it called Random Eat Bag, and people from all over the world send them stuff to try out and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of reminds me of that, the Unicorn Circuit. It's quite funny as well. But they send sweets and different types of foods from all over the world, and they try them out. Apparently they have a restaurant as well.
Nice.
Do you know?
Oh, Deidre said, I had a thing my twin had given me. It was a flat board with a rope. You swing it around and it makes a sound. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
I've seen them on videos. They're absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, they are bloody brilliant. They're from the Aboriginals. The didgeridoo, a lot of people don't know, it is a very sacred instrument, and only men are allowed to play the didgeridoo. Women should not play it.
Oh, do you know, apparently the didgeridoo, and I know it only looks like a stick, is apparently one of the most difficult instruments to play.
It is.
Because you have to learn rotational breathing. You have to learn to breathe in and blow at the same time.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yes.
Yes, I'll be sending stuff to Julie, Jazz.
The Wonera. Yeah, thank you, Carol. Wonera. Okay.
By the way, this Yowie is beautiful.
Yeah. Our chocolate here is really good. Apparently, the chocolate in America is really sweet, whereas our chocolate's a more toned down version because we've got a Cadbury factory here in
Yeah, well,
Tasmania.
well, well, Cadbury's actually originated in Birmingham, where I'm from,
Yeah.
and they actually built a suburb in Birmingham called Bourneville, which is named after one of their bars of chocolate.
So, does our chocolate taste the same to you as your chocolate? The same recipe?
The Smartest tasted slightly different, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that's down to like the milk and the water. That's what
Yep.
actually makes the difference. It's like if you get like they say, if you go to Ireland, the Guinness in Ireland tastes entirely different to how it does anywhere else in the world because again, it's to do with the water and stuff like that.
Yep.
And Guinness don't travel well. I've actually been to the States 4 times, and no offense to anybody American on here, their chocolate to me is not very nice compared to the English and what I've tried of the Australian chocolate. Your chocolate's very
Mm.
similar to English chocolate.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Aus- the US chocolate tends to be quite chalky consistency.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I'm going to start talking paranormal a little bit. Now, we touched on deja vu last week, and I may have brought this up last week. I cannot remember. But Jazz was asking about it, and we touched on it. And I put up a poll that said, do you believe in deja vu? And what do you believe deja vu is? So, the things that I had written down were,
I've got a moose out of my yowie,
oh, that's not even an Australian animal. Well, the chocolates are American, so
yeah,
that kind of makes sense.
but he can sit next to my koala.
Oh. Um, okay, so deja vu is a result of a memory you have of this life, 17%. Deja vu is a result of a memory of a past life, 50%. Deja vu can be scientifically explained as a blip of the brain. Nobody voted for that one. Something else paranormal, 17%. Something else non paranormal, 17%. So I had 2 comments. One of them was from Teresa, and she said it's the future of knowing what had happened at the exact time of parallel time. Just a thought which may confuse. Jackie Evelyn said, I think it's the 2 top answers because sometimes it's also a remembered dream and then, this is it, like you remember it. So,
Funnily enough, I was reading an article a couple of months ago that was talking about, I don't know where, I can't remember where it was now, and it was on about the science, what the scientists think it may be, and apparently they were saying that, and I found it a bit odd to believe that basically our brain is working so fast that, but not instantaneous speed because nothing, apart from light is instantaneous. They're
mhm,
saying deja vu is when your brain actually registers what your eyes are seeing,
mhm.
and then you actually catch up to that slight millisecond as it's processing, sort of thing. But my argument to that is, if that's the case, that can't be true because your brain's got to register that instantaneous part before it gets to the catch up phase.
Yeah.
But that is what the scientific side of things are trying to say, is that it's actually your brain catching up to the millisecond before during the processing time.
Mhm. What do you think, Sam? What do you think about deja vu?
Um, I never really give it much thought, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Have you ever
Um,
experienced it, Sam?
um, can you explain it to me again? I'm sorry, I sound really dumb.
No, that's right.
Deja vu is when you suddenly have the realization that you've done something before, that you're
Right.
re-experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because I did see a science video, and it was difficult to put my head around it. But there was this, I can't say theory, a hypothesis, uh, a conclusion or a educated guess that we have copies of ourselves in different levels of existence.
Mm-hmm.
And could it be a possibility that those levels of existence meet in some way? And
Could be.
you know, it was a really confusing thing. But this was actually a science a person in science explaining all of this. You know,
Yeah.
Which I don't generally look into a lot of this stuff, but I'm starting to look into these other possibilities and try to educate myself on other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting what Carol's put in the comments. My dad was in the army in the UK. He went to Crete and he knew his way around the old place and had never been there. See, I've experienced something similar like that in the past. Not exactly the same, but where I've been somewhere and I've felt a familiarity with it to the point that I know that there is, say, like the once we went on holiday down to Cornwall and we went to this village and I was dying for the loo, and I just instinctively knew that the public toilets were down in a certain direction. I didn't know exactly where they were, but I just some way knew that the public toilets were in that certain direction.
I was
Go on, sir.
sorry. I have a similar kind of. It's a kind of confusion in a place called Cumber House, which is a big white stately type home that I've investigated a number of times. And when I go in there, my mind goes completely confused because the layout of the building as it is now was converted for public use, like groups and stuff like that. And there's a gym down in the basement. And especially down in the basement, when I walk down there, I see the gym equipment and that. But in my mind's eye, I see a big, thick block wooden table and stuff hanging on the wall, and that to me was the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, am I making all this stuff up? There is partition walls in the upper parts of the building, but in my mind's eye I can see a corridor and I can see bedrooms coming off it. But is my mind making all this stuff up?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. Or am I really seeing it in the past?
Mm. Have you ever, like for me, I've had a couple of times where it's not just when you go to a place and it's like you've been there before, which could be from, as Carol said, reincarnation or a multiverse. But there are times as well where you'll be doing something and you're like, I've already done this before, but I know that I haven't done it in this life, but I know I've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had that quite a few times as well. That's confusing.
I've got to be honest, it's something I do experience quite a lot, deja vu. Not like every day, but quite frequently.
Mm-hmm.
You have a good night, Dedra.
Have a good night, Deidre. Thank you for coming
night.
in.
Good night.
So the next one is going to be interesting because we have had a lot of talks about demons and what a demon is to different people and things like that. So the other question I'd put on here was, in your opinion, what is a demon? No hate, no judgment, no answer is a wrong answer. Please be respectful. So I have the Bible explains what a demon is. 50% of people chose this. A demon is something inhuman. Nobody chose that. A demon is a negative spirit in life and death. 33%. A demon is something else. Explain in comments. 17%. And then tongue-in-cheek comment. You mean Desmond? No one chose that. So Brett had commented and he said, a demon is the human psyche personifying negative experiences. And Jazzy said, I have always thought a demon was somebody with evil intention that enjoys harming others. They have no soul.
See,
So that was interesting.
It's really interesting how many people there went for the Bible one, because the word demon far precedes the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, and people all, it just shows the influence religion has on people, where they're associating it totally with the Bible and stuff like that, but demons and evil spirits far precede the Bible anyway. But like a lot of things, religion has grabbed them and made them theirs, sort of thing.
Yeah, I did do. I think that there's a comment there, but it's a very long comment that I put in there. And, over the last month I had done ITC, try to eliminate all belief and assumptions, and still demons are coming up and devils and stuff. And it's kind of weird. Now, the question we need to ask, is demons and devils real, or is it embedded in our life through religious indoctrination? You know where I'm coming from there.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because I avoided the word spirits, I avoided the word angels, demons, all that kind of stuff. Just done my ITC as if I'm talking to another communicator. We're not going to give any assumptions. And only this week, and I think the session won't go out until the middle of July or something like that, there was this this voice came through, and it was in a part where I didn't say anything for a couple of minutes, and it says, I'm the devil. And then just after it, another voice says, he's the devil. And I missed it, I think I missed it in real time. I heard it on playback, and I'm going, are these communicators messing with us, or is all of this embedded in our life through religious belief? And it's that religious belief has been embedded into our lives from the time we were born. We follow what our parents had believed until a certain point, possibly, and then change our views and stuff like that. But religion has been a big part of society. Church, you're going to get a church in every town, every village, and stuff like that. So religion goes back many of years, and this belief system, all this belief system is always, it's drilled into us from when we were young, especially through public schools, because a lot of these public schools in our country anyway have a connection with the church, and those beliefs are embedded in us, and the question I was asking, if these people are possibly, these communities are possibly dead people, does demons exist because they mentioned it, or are they mentioning demons and associating that with a negative experience because in their life they grew up that demons and devils and negative experiences is connected with demons and devils?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Go on, Julie.
I was just going to say, I think that, like, in regard to what people classify a demon as being. I think that there are so many different things that fit into that category. I think that there needs to be some kind of renaming or reshuffling of that as well, because as you said, Sam, I might turn around to one of my kids and go, "You bloody devil," if they do something wrong. And so does that carry through too as a word of slang? Um, so I think in regards to when we're looking at entities, we have to be careful what we label as a demon, because maybe there are a plethora of different entities that we're labeling as demons when they're actually not.
Yeah, I mean, like a number of years ago, I got attacked. I got attacked by some sort of a dark. It was a dark figure, smoky type figure, and I was praying for my life, at a certain point and stuff like that. But I can't actually say that it was a demon or a devil that attacked me. I can't, because I got no proof whatsoever. All I know is something had a very, very negative effect on me.
Yeah.
To the point that I was praying for my life. But there's no scientific proof that I can say that a demon attacked me or a devil attacked me.
See, go on, Sam. Sorry.
Our understanding very often, and you'll see it on social medias and you'll see it on YouTube, is very often a lot of people, they'll follow the masses and they'll follow the popular belief. But is that popular belief actually true? That's the question I need to, I've been asking myself lately,
See, the thing is, if you just take the Bible's definition of demons, which my opinions, the very description of them is that they are there to tempt man. Hollywood has depicted them as these evil horned things that are always trying to kill people. If you go on the Bible's definition, the last thing a demon is going to be doing is attacking you, because they want to beguile you into turning to sin. Now, attacking somebody is going to be the last thing to do to turn somebody towards sin. They're supposedly crafty and very beguiling and stuff like that. And I think Hollywood has got an awful lot to answer for. They really have. Because the last thing a demon's going to do is sit on the bottom of your bed and terrify the life out of you if it's trying to cajole you into turning to Satan.
Yeah, it's described as a wolf in sheep's clothing, which would refer that this negative side that's described in the Bible is sort of undercover. You don't notice it until the last minute or whatever.
Yeah. And again, it's like with when you get communications coming through. What you were talking about just where they were going on about I'm the devil or he's the devil. If we take it from the standpoint that it's actually a dead person talking to, I have said this time and time again. I don't understand why people presume that as soon as somebody dies, they turn into bloody Mother Teresa. Because there is absolutely no proof out there whatsoever that happens. These people could retain their sense of humour they had in life. Yeah. There's nothing out there to say you suddenly turn into some kind of, sinless angel. They could be doing it as, it could be their sense of humour coming through.
I've heard every swear word imaginable. Even through the last month, one particular session, unfortunately, and some might say conveniently, didn't record. But I've heard every single in the space of 10 minutes. I've heard almost every swear word imaginable, including homophobic swear words.
Yeah.
And I hear swear words a lot. I mean, like the last month I've been doing a test on a certain radio, and I've done sessions every single day, and I'm still getting the swear words. Eliminate all the assumption, but if somebody passed on, I think their personality would not change into what we would refer, and especially here in Derry, where Roma Downey is it's her birthplace. There's a TV series that happened in the 90s and the early 2000s called Touched by an Angel, which is a very positive. It's a very positive image of afterlife existence, or heaven.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that people like Roma Downey and those other people that were in that, they're all heavily based in religious faith. You know.
Yep.
Um,
When it comes to religion, no religion paints itself in a bad light. None. So they're always going to put themselves on the side of good, and whoever they're opposed against is, on the side of evil.
Yes,
So
but
you've always got to take that bias into consideration as well.
yes, but if you look through the Bible, there's some really, really messed up stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? And I don't want to get into the controversial thing, but the thing about Noah's flood, which I don't believe in, but why would God create man, and because there was a group of people that he didn't like, destroy the whole world? That's the big, yeah.
I spent, in my early 20s, I went through a lot of crap. I had a bad relationship breakup, lost my nan, had all this stuff happen. And I turned to the church because I was searching for something. I felt like I was missing something, as people do when they get depressed and all that. So I sat in on a Catholic church because I was Anglican, and I said, I would love to, sit through some meetings and just talk to you. And I talked to the minister about this, and he said, yep, sure. He said, we'll have weekly meetings and you can ask me anything you want. And I was told by a Catholic minister that the Bible is full of metaphors and is to be taken literally. And that's from a Catholic minister.
Yeah.
Now, I think in the sense of God and of the Bible and religion in a sense, I think that God is not this figure, this man who created the world and did all of this. I think that there's a deeper meaning behind what people call as God. And when we look at all the different religions, I think that you'll start to get a deeper sense of what real religion actually is if you look into it. As we've said before here, when we die, we're an energy form. We're a never-ending energy. And I think that is more of what we would probably realistically believe a God is.
Yeah.
It's this place we go back to when we die. It's not a person or anything else. It's this place. And that's my belief. No hate to anyone else's beliefs or what they believe in. That's just what I believe.
I've been involved in a number of different churches over the years, and when I look back on it, it was blind belief. Now, recently I decided to look at the other side of it to give it a balance. So I started listening to documentaries on Aaron Ra and debates between Aaron Ra and Kent Hovind. Kent Hovind is a Baptist minister who has this dinosaur adventure land and believes that dinosaurs existed with man 6,000 years ago because the Bible says, and Aaron Ra's on the scientific side. And a number of times Aaron Ra states that you cannot bring the Bible into science, because even the authors and writers of those scriptures there is no evidence that they actually existed either.
Mm-hmm.
As in, real solid evidence. So very often you got this belief system in this book, and people taking it literally. But the thing is, some of the things that was taken literally in that book has caused all sorts of problems, including in one particular country where if you steal, your hand is cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. When it comes to that kind of confrontation of faith, it's good to actually, rather than stick on the side that you firmly believe in, also look on the other side and balance it up and make your own conclusion from it.
Mm-hmm.
You may take something from both,
Yeah, exactly. Ask questions. Look into it.
Question everything.
Yeah. I saw someone debating this actually on TikTok a few days ago, saying, they didn't believe in God as the Bible explains God to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, come up, talk to me, and challenge my thoughts and opinions, and maybe you can change my mind. And there's one person that got up and they said, well, you should just believe in God because, just to be safe, because if you die, you might go to hell if you don't believe. And that
But
was
don't you think that's a wrong kind of approach, though, Julie?
Yes.
That you're actually being religious out of fear more so than belief.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And it ain't just Christianity; it's all they all do it. Because they have to get members, for want of a better word, followers, whatever you want to class them as. But to me, religion, and I'm talking all religions, not just Christianity. If you look at them over the centuries, they change and they adapt. And the reason they change and adapt is because the main reason of religion is social control of the masses. It's to keep the general populace in a sense of order. And I think it's built into every person that they feel that they need something above them to be there, to take responsibility to the things that go on around them. And I think that's just generally, the human psyche, is it, in a nutshell. Every person feels the need to have some higher power, for want of a better word, being responsible for the overall picture. So if anything goes wrong or anything goes right, there's a fallback for us to go, well, that's because if you notice, if anything nice happens on YouTube, you get list of comments this long off religious people. Oh, amen, praise be to God, blah, 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 blah. And then if anything bad happens, it's the same list, all associating it to the devil. The people just generally need this higher power to ultimately be responsible.
Yeah. And Julia just made a really good comment there. She wrote a moment ago about how he will look at your heart. So I believe that there are a lot of religious people out there who will say, you're going to go to hell if you don't follow the commandments, and you're this and that. But most of the religious people that I've met, a portion of them anyway, I will say, are the most judgmental people I have met. Not all, but a lot of them. And I think if there is any kind of higher power there that decides whether you go to one place or another, I think it's what's in here. It's not your faith or what you believe in, it's how you treat people and how the things that you do for yourself. Do you know what I mean? How you are as a person.
Well, the thing is, Julie, if you take the Ten Commandments as a Christian example, right, and you apply them to every person on this planet, right, there isn't a person on this planet who's going to heaven. If you apply them literally.
Yep.
There simply isn't a person on this planet who is going to heaven.
Yeah. I had an interesting experience a number of years ago, and unfortunately, it was on very, very sad circumstances, where a girl in the village that I lived in took her own life, and her sister was so grieved that she took her own life 2 weeks later. Now, I went to the gravesite just after the second girl had died, and the only person that was in the cemetery at the time was the caretaker. And I stood at the end of the grave, and the caretaker came over. He says, "It's an awful tragedy, isn't it?" And he says, "Yeah, it's really, really bad." And he says, "And you know the worst part of it is those girls are not going to go to heaven." And I turned around to him and I says, "Well, what, to you, what is God?" He said, "God is love." Well, he says, if God is love, why would these girls not go to heaven? Those girls were bullied online by other people, and their grief and the attacks upon them caused what happened. It wasn't that they it wasn't that they didn't appreciate life. Other people convinced them that their life was worthless.
Yeah.
And I had a good chat with this man, and he broke down into tears. And I left that cemetery, and that man was a changed man, and he says, "I thank you very, very much. I see a different picture now." Very often religion is threatened into us. You'll often see that. Believe in this or X, you're going to hell. We were brought up with that in school. And we're now in an age where we start to question everything. I still believe in God, but that picture of God, I have no evidence. Solidly that God exists, but I can still believe in one. But that picture of it has changed over the years. So rather than the kids' books and stuff, my impression, when you see miracles happen, medical miracles. I had medical miracles happen to myself. I can't prove that God did it. But I can believe in it. I can believe in it, and I can't say exactly that. God saved my leg, God saved my foot, but I can believe in it if I wish, but I still have to state that I cannot prove that. But I refuse to follow along with the threats that if you don't follow a certain line, that you're damned to hell. It's religion. Very often you'll see in religious organisations, their emphasis is to tell you how bad of a person you are. You are a sinner. To look down on yourself. But if God created us as an individual precious person, we should be proud of that. We should be, we should not be. Yes, we should be. We should have our morals. But morals don't come from religion. Morals come from our common sense to fellow human beings.
See, that's where problems start, Sam. Is when religion starts to poke its nose, and I'm talking all religions, when they start to poke their nose into things like morals and stuff like that, which they do, because ultimately, you can look back over, like say, all history again. There has been, and there still is, an awful amount of corruption in all religions. There are people out there who use religion for personal gain.
Oh yes, absolutely.
and these people are dictating to the rest of us how we should be living our lives. But if you're, if I've got no problem with anybody believing in their God, whatever God it is, but I don't believe that anybody should try and force their belief system on anybody else. Because I'm Wiccan, Wiccan is considered a personal belief system. There is no centralised governing body of Wicca. Like there's no council of witches. You'll get these odd weirdos and modern day people who do it for the attention, who try and make out there is. But Wicca itself is not an organised religion. It has not got a centralised body. It is very much a personal belief, and I personally think if a lot more of the religions out there went more this way, things on this planet would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny we bring up the subject because recently a guy called Matt Powell Official had come up with a sermon, and it wasn't put on YouTube, but I do have a copy of it in my hard drive, where he spoke about transgenders and homosexuality. And what he believed in sent a lot of controversy all over the internet, and directly referring to drag queens. They should be lined up and shot.
Right.
This is a religious minister, a religious Baptist minister, come out with that.
Yeah.
Where most of us would believe that you do not take life, you do not kill another person.
Yeah.
But he believed, and he said, well, we shouldn't do it, but that's what governments are for. It was one documentary, one sermon that shook me to the core, that a religious organisation was so evil inside without even realising it themselves. It was just pure and utter evil talk.
Yeah.
And judgmental about another human being. And what it is it's spreading hate. Do you know?
See Latropes put there. Look at the way Islam treats homosexuals and trans people. Oh my God! But there are branches of Christianity who are exactly the same. There are branches of of the Christian faith that are exactly the same, and this is why I say religion or your belief system should be more of an internalized, independent thing, because I think as soon as you start listening to anybody else, you are subject to their whims and thoughts and ideas. And let's be honest, religion for a lot of people is a very powerful tool. It's a very powerful motivator.
What I found was, having a look at these other different churches. I even been to a Sikh temple. I don't understand the language or anything but I went for an experience. Yeah. But some of these Christian churches, they say, well, this is God's house and everybody's welcome to God's house. We welcome them in and God does the rest. The thing was, in one particular case, I was welcomed in, but when I got in, they tried to twist me into their type of thinking and criticizing my way of thinking. That I was wrong and they were right. And there was another part of the church service where at the end, some of these people that are elders in the church, anybody want to come up for healing, and they believe that God will work through them to heal your pain, physical or mental pain.
Nice
But
to
some
see
of
you
these,
come back with your clothes on this week, Julie.
Oh, I had to check the wood fire.
yeah, but some of these people believe that they do the healing, and they glorify themselves
Yeah.
because they're elders in the church. And there's a lot of this politics within organisations of struggles of power. And I just got fed up with the whole thing. You know?
But this thing about influence, if you think about it, it happens on so many levels and so many scales. If you take the paranormal community, for instance, you've got programs like Ghost Adventures. You've got programs like Most Haunted. You've got big YouTube channels that do it, and people watch them. And because that particular channel or that particular program says one thing, all their followers suddenly believe that what they're saying is 100% true.
Yeah.
And that is the only way it can be done. So, this kind of influence, it comes down from the highest levels down to the lowest.
Yeah.
And people need to start thinking more for themselves in all aspects of their life.
Yeah, if you're big into the paranormal, the biggest trap that you can fall into is following the masses.
Yep. Totally agree with that, Sam.
You should think for yourself and think outside the box. You know? Because 99% of what you hear online is not backed up with actual proof. And when you look at things that they call theories, a lot of these people don't even know what theory is. You take stone tape theory, for instance. It's not even a theory, because theory is backed up with some actual fact that's proved by science. And I don't believe stone tape theory is actually fully backed up with actual 100% solid evidence. So it can't be a theory. It can be a conclusion, but it's not a theory. And that's why I say to everybody, question every single thing. Now we often talk about these things and talk about the negative side, but the paranormal can be a very positive thing if you think for yourself. We're not putting.
Sorry.
We're not putting down the paranormal community as a whole. We're just asking you to question every single thing and try to avoid following the masses to blind belief. Belief and truth are two completely separate things.
Yeah.
It's even in the sense of like when we see people put videos up and even the stuff I put up and the stuff Sam puts up and the stuff that everybody puts up, nothing is actually fact. Nothing is 100% proof or evidence. It's just what our findings are, and we're showing you, and you can make your opinion about what we find. And
I'm unchristianly murdering a fly, excuse me.
Brett's going to get cancelled.
I'm committing murder live on YouTube.
Keemstar, Brett is killing a fly online. You need to do a video. What is up? For our very first story, a paranormal investigator kills a fly.
Not a fly.
Roll it.
Even the dog's going off.
That fly is doing my head in. It has been in the house for 2 days. I have drenched it in Raid fly spray, and the thing survives all the while. I've tried whacking it, and it's that fast it escapes. It's like Terminator fly. It's really doing my head in.
It's
How do you know it's
fly from last time? It's still hanging around.
It is.
How do you know it's not a ghost fly from a fly you killed previously.
It might be. That's a good point, Sam.
Oh,
That'd
that's why
explain
it
why
won't
the fly
die.
spray ain't working on it.
It's come back to haunt, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there at night when you go to bed.
Where's that
I'm watching you.
bloody spider gone? It ain't doing its job.
Bloody hell.
But yeah, but you know, belief can be one of the biggest truth killers out there. It really can, because once you're fixed in some avenue of belief, a lot of people just refuse to jump out the track, and they will follow it to the bitter end. You know, even when there's evidence to the contrary of what they believe. And this is why I always say to people, don't believe a word I'll tell you, because I could be totally wrong. Just consider it as a possibility.
Yep.
Well, part of my trial was to avoid assumptions and belief. On my second channel with the month-long trial of ITC, and I never came up with the word spirit once. I talked to them like I was talking to another person, even though I asked really, really odd questions. But I noticed the word spirit never came up once. Now, the reason why spirit often comes up in the spirit box is because people are constantly saying, where are you, spirits? Spirits this, spirits that, spirits this. Now, we know that the communicators often copy what we say. But if you say a word enough times, they will repeat it back to you. So these people are saying, referring to them as spirits and saying the word spirits every couple of minutes. And I think that the word spirits is repeated back to them. Now, I'm not saying that they may or may not be spirits, but I noticed in this trial that when I avoid the word spirits, the word spirit never came up at all.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. You know, but in this field, by its very name, there are no absolutes, and there are no knowns. You know, all the only known we've got is that something is going on. That is the only real known we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything else is subject to conjecture, is subject to theory, and it's subject to opinion.
Yeah. And you got to take into account, and I'm including myself in this, that a lot of people that look into the paranormal do not have the education of science, and a lot of them don't even know the basis of physics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's one thing I recently started looking into, the science side of things, and other things like, physics and stuff like that, because I was shit at school. You know? But I do believe that some, a little bit of knowledge on physics and a little bit of knowledge on basic science will actually help. But some of these people are too lazy to even flip and try.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you have to take into account too, we're on a platform that, to be honest with you, sometimes is a complete and utter dumpster fire when it comes to the paranormal, because the focus is not finding the truth, it's entertaining an audience and getting views and subs and money and stuff like that. If you took all that out of the equation, how many people would actually be left in the field is a good question.
Yeah.
Yep. Julia from Cemeteries Down Under has a question. Now I know we've
I was hoping you weren't going to read that
out. We have touched on this quite a few times before, Julia. Near-death experiences. Is it real, or is it your brain creating images for the last time? Brett actually had a near-death experience with a very profound vision. So I don't know if he wants to tell that again.
Basically, when I was in my teens, I got spiked and was rushed to hospital in an ambulance. On the way to hospital, I actually died twice. My heart stopped and they had to bring me back. During the trip to hospital, I had what people would class as a near death experience, which was nothing like what most people describe as a near death experience. There was no tunnel, there was no going into the light as such. Basically, I woke up on a bed in a very brightly lit area, is the way to describe it, with this really annoying red haired woman who kept shaking me and telling me to bugger off, basically. So, whether that was a spiritual experience or whether it was my dying brain doing something really freaky, I have no idea. But I will say, since that day, I have never been frightened of death. But it certainly wasn't what most people class as a near death experience. But I do often wonder, is that as because of the fact I am not actually religious? Does your brain, while this process is going on, does it add little bits of religion? If you're religious, does it add these little religious elements in or not? No idea. But mine was, I basically, 1 minute I was playing pool, the next minute I was lying on the bed in this really bright area, which had actually got no size to it. It was just bright. And I was in a very nice bed, white sheets, and there was a desk just off to the side of the bed, and this woman in a white business suit, I would say, is the best way of describing her, with long red wavy hair, came over to me and she kept slapping me and telling me I'd got to get up and leave. And I basically swore at her in my NDE, so I ain't going to heaven one way or the other.
The interesting thing about experiences like that and that whole subject within the paranormal is it's actually investigated by medical science. You know, so it's not just being investigated by us mere ghost hunters and people without a you know an education in some sort of science. It's actually being investigated by medical science. You know, and so is actually reincarnation. You know.
Yeah. But you know, there was no religious aspects to my NDE whatsoever. I actually told her to F off in the end because they kept slapping me and telling me I've got to get up and leave, sort of thing. And I actually lost my temper and told her to go and F off.
Actually,
there was no. I never saw any of my relatives there. I never saw anybody bar the woman. And the best way to describe it would be air hostess type get up, but it was all in white. That is probably the best way to describe her.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that some of these people that do go through this near death experience actually turn after they get better, actually do turn to faith and religion.
Yeah.
You know, and very often a lot of these people, describe the same thing. You know, about this tunnel of light and a couple of things. A lot of things do add up.
Yeah, I never saw any tunnel or anything. There was no angels singing. There was no family members there. I was just literally me and that woman in this area on our own.
See, for me, I've never had an experience like that. But when you hear of other people's experiences and they say, oh, I went here and then I came back, and you hear the same thing over and over again, you kind of start to question whether there's some kind of validity to it. But when you hear stories like yours and you're like, okay, well, it's not everybody that's having the same experiences. People are having their experiences depending on their situation, who they are, blah, blah, blah. It kind of puts a more real spin to it. It kind of makes you question, well, maybe there is something to this. Do you know what I mean? Because for me, when you told me your experience, I kind of thought, oh, well, okay, well, you're somewhere in between, and they're telling you it's not your time yet. You've got to
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah, and that is what I've always put it down to.
Yeah.
So that probably if I was destined to go that day, I'd have probably woke up somewhere else,
Yeah.
not in that place.
Yeah.
You know, but there was no religious aspect to it whatsoever, and I was only 14 at the time. You know, but there was no religious aspect to it at all. It was a nice place. Don't get me wrong. There was no bad feelings about it, and it was really bright. And it's the weirdest light I've ever seen, because it was like you couldn't see any walls. That's how massive it was. It was, when you see things like these films where they go and visit God and it's just a complete white area with no walls or nothing. That is exactly what it was like. It was exactly like that. But this light was so intense. Put it down out your eyes. It's the weird, that is the one thing that always strikes me about the experience, was the light. It was how bright it was, but it didn't behave like light I'm used to.
Do the picture I have in my head right now is Norman Freeman and Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this occurred years before that film, Sam. But
yeah.
I did swear at her, and I was perfectly my normal self, but I actually told her to F off in the end, and I actually swung my arm at her and went, "Will you F off?" Because they kept tapping me and telling me to leave over and over and over.
And that F off probably came out in somebody's spirit box at some point.
Probably.
Yeah.
Ghost hunters in the room going, wow!
So Julia says, my dad had one 18 months before passed away. He did not have a religious experience. He was an atheist, and he believed in afterlife after that.
I've never feared death since. It's never. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to die horribly or painfully.
Yeah.
But the actual process of dying has never been a problem for me since I've been 14, ever.
It's funny how that changes too. Like, I'm not saying that everyone feels the same, but for me, when I was a kid, because I grew up with scripture at school, and my dad's a Catholic, even though he doesn't go to church regularly or anything, but you grow up with these religions that have been forced into your head, and so you believe, well, when I die, I'm going to go to one place or another, and it's going to be, horrible and everything. But once you delve into the paranormal and you realise there is actually an afterlife, and it's not just a black nothing, I think it kind of gives you some kind of peace to know that you're not just going nowhere. There's somewhere to go. Yeah.
But I didn't experience the tunnel, and I know a lot of people do. But I was literally, 1 minute I was playing pool with friends, the next minute I was lying on that bed in that really bright place with a woman. There was no transition between the two. And the other weird thing that has fascinated me for years after, all the while it was going on, I never even wondered for a single second while I was there why I was there, and not, the fact I'd been playing pool seconds before was of no, it never even crossed my mind. It was literally like living in the moment. It was really strange.
I think we might have a problem in the chat.
Yeah, Kim just got rid of it, and I just hit them on the channel.
That's going on every single YouTube channel at the moment. There's nothing you can do about it.
That's the second one tonight.
And it's exactly the same place. That is broadcasting across the entire YouTube network.
Filthy animals.
Yeah. I hope you've noted the website down for later, Jude.
Right.
Just put it for me in the private comments later.
I wrote it down.
Yeah, I believe that death is only the beginning.
Absolutely.
And this is like what we were talking about last week, and what Sam was saying when they told her that she won't be alive until the future. Because I think it's only when you move on to that particular reality that you do experience life in its fullest.
Yeah.
I always said
specifically asked on my.
Go, Sam.
Go on ahead.
Go.
Specifically in that case, I asked, "Are they dead?" I cringed when I asked that question. By the way, I always do, and they said no. And I says, "Well, am I dead?" And they went, "Yes." And then I says, "Well, if I'm dead, can I be alive? How can I be alive? You know?" And they says, "The future." Now, did I make that fit? I don't know, but it was kind of weird. You know, I can't take it as gospel, but it was kind of strange. Yeah. You know, I can't put that down as evidence, though. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. You know,
some of the conversations that you
Sam,
have
you could actually base an entire religion around that.
Yeah. You know.
Yep.
You know, if you were that way inclined, you could actually convince people that is how it is, and you could base an entire religion around it.
Could you imagine that, though? Like, we've had that discussion before. Could you imagine that if people thought, okay, well, when I die, when my body dies, that's when my real life is going to start. That's when everything's going to be grand and wonderful. You'd have a lot of people going early, I will say. I won't say the S word, but...
Yeah, it can be very, very dangerous, yes. And possibly that's why some of the information that I ask from them seems to be classified.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, I've said it numerous times. I do honestly believe that there's mechanisms in place to make sure that the living, as we consider the living, never find out about what happens afterwards, because the social implications on this side of life would be disastrous. Yeah. And it really would.
You know, that would be assuming I'm talking to afterlife beings.
It'd have been pointless going to Area 51, Parasolo. It's been moved.
Yeah, I just said, well, come through the box and let us know if they've got aliens out there.
It's actually been moved.
Well, Parasolo can find out where it is.
Yeah, he's gonna have to look. He's gonna have to find out where they've moved it to.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Keep it on the down low.
Ever since my dad passed away Tuesday at night, sorry to hear that. I close my eyes, I hear his voice saying hello. My gran was talking to my granddad.
Station 2, isn't it? I think I'm breaking up.
You are, you froze.
Yeah.
Oh, we can laugh about Julie's now. Did you see what Julie was doing, Sam?
Yeah, no. I didn't want to say it, but yeah, a couple of tricks.
People will have fun with that now.
Yeah, I think
UK corrupted me awfully.
Yeah, some people.
You corrupted me. I'm already corrupt.
Yeah, some people experienced in Photoshop might do a few alterations.
Yeah.
Damn.
We got Sam sitting on the cucumber last week and Julie eating it this week.
Oh no!
I'm so glad my internet don't freeze very often.
Brad will be sitting on the sidelines.
I'm doing quite well today, despite having technical issues before we even started.
You are actually.
You know? Yeah, it's quite. Things are going quite well for a change.
Your camera's that camera's working fine as well. It ain't stuttering like the other one.
Jackson, yeah, are you looking at the web page that popped up?
She probably was, Jack. She was comparing her skills. To what-
Oh God.
Yeah, we're talking about stuff that's paranormal, not abnormal. You know what I mean? We're gone down a different road here.
Anyone
that-
have any other questions?
But that thing about what, about grandparents talking to, a granddad, that happens quite a lot. And if you speak to a lot of like nurses and medical staff, the number of stories they can tell you about people who've been in the process of passing away in hospital, and they've suddenly started having conversations with loved ones who've already passed on. It's not just fairly common; it's extremely common.
Yeah. The one thing, we have to take into consideration, even though we can't prove it in science, is if you know a person and you're with a person and then they die, and we have an Irish wake where they're laid out in a room and stuff like that, and you walk in there and you get this feeling that there's something missing, that they're not there. What you see in front of you is an empty shell, and there's something missing. You can't actually put your finger on it, but when you walk into that room, that person is not there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that? I don't know.
Yep.
Are we tuned into other people's energies and
Mm-hmm.
whatever? But that energy is as what you see in front of you is that person doesn't seem to. You know where I'm going with this. You don't pick up the energy or something.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Do you know, Sam? And apparently this is proven. When a body dies, it immediately loses about 2.5 grams the second it dies.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that experiment being explained before, right?
Yeah. So what is the 2.5 grams? What of that weight is leaving?
Yeah,
Straight
the experiment was based on trying to prove the human soul.
Yeah.
Do you know? But at the same time, we have to define what a soul is.
Yeah. I'll be back in a second because I seriously need a coffee. Give me a second.
Okay.
I'll be back in a few minutes.
I'm going to have a coffee after you come back, actually.
It is cute, Jazzy, but you don't have to do that. We're not about that. But thank you. I was going to say, I think that's probably the one thing that really scares me is, when somebody that's close to me passes away, and whether it be you're going in to view them or whether you're with them when they go, is actually seeing someone after they're passed. I think that's the one thing that really scares me.
Yeah.
Seeing someone like that.
Yeah, I've had an interesting session this week, but it may not come out till next week.
Mm-hmm.
Was I asked, sort of in a scientific way rather than following the masses, how many levels of existence are there in this world? And then I said, right, I'll make it simpler. How many worlds are there? And they said 8. Next thing, a couple of seconds later, somebody else said 8. I got about 4 or 5 answers of 8. So if we look into it, if we have multiple levels of existence,
Mm-hmm.
and some of those levels of existence contains the energy of human beings, or human and animal beings,
Mm-hmm.
their energy goes into these levels of existence. Could it be possible that the reason why we cannot get in contact with it seems we cannot get into contact with people past 1700s or whatever. You know, like, you don't hear people contacting, you know, cavemen or Iron Age people, or the spirit of a dinosaur, or the spirit of someone from the Ice Age or stuff like that. You always get these images, and the images are very often in common with people maybe to go back to maybe the 1700s, maybe at the latest.
Yeah.
Is it possible that these people that go into these levels of existence proceed into other levels of existence where it doesn't mix in with our physical world here? Is it possible that these lower levels of existence contain the recent passing on of people, and at times those levels of existence, the physical level of existence and that lower level of existence, intertwine in some way, where people see the image of past people walking around or whatever? Because we don't see people 1300s or way back in history, if you know what I mean.
Just give me a second. Sorry. It's a good point though, because I've even noticed that a lot of people, and even in my travels, you know, when people are coming across spirits or whatever else, it's never, you know, Ice Age or Iron Age, or, you know, it's never. It's always people that have been lost in the last 100 to 200 years.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you wonder, like, I always thought that, you know, way back, I always thought, oh, well, maybe people are just reincarnated. Maybe that's why they can't come back, because they're living again. But what if there are other levels of existence or other planes, you know?
Yeah.
There's so many different layers of the paranormal to delve into. It's just, yeah.
It could also be that, like a battery, they only have power for so long.
That's true too, actually.
Yeah.
You know?
What's up, buddy?
You know, George Meek explained the possibility of multiple level of existence, but he actually brought the Bible into it, because he kind of he connected it with a passage in the Bible that says there are many rooms in my Father's house, which he believed to be the multiple layers of existence outside of physical existence.
Well, you know, it's like you've got the 10 levels of hell, and there's supposed to be so many levels of heaven, and that runs through a lot of religions, where they believe that there's different levels of, you know, of either hell or heaven. And it's funny that it's like a type of running theme through them all.
Yeah, I mean, like, I constantly ask them that question of many levels of existence, or how many worlds are there, and I was getting the common answer 3 and 10, but in a latest session, what I got was 8 by 4 different voices, 4 or 5 different voices, 8 levels of existence, which is, you know, but then again, at the same time, you know, I can't put that down as major evidence or that, because I don't know what I'm communicating with, so I can't put that forward as evidence. But it is interesting at the same time. So by asking the same questions over and over, you try to look for a pattern, you know?
Yeah. Do you know, I'm just looking at myself. I am really impressed with my glasses. And I'll tell you why. The other night I was sitting on the floor doing something, and I took my glasses off, and I said to Jason, watch where you're standing, because I've put my glasses down the side of me. And guess what happened 30 seconds later? he stood on them and crushed them flat.
Oh,
And
no.
and the lenses and everything popped out of them, and I've actually managed to get them fairly level. I was just checking them out, thinking, do my glasses look too bad? He literally crushed them flat.
Wow. I'm going to go and have coffee now. I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Anyone who's got wrenches or anything, you can drop your links or other people's links. If you're looking for Sam and Brett's links, I actually have them pinned to the top of the chat. Thanks, Julia.
That's a good point, Jack. Was it causality? Did I actually cause that by telling him not to do it? But then again, it is Jason. No matter what you say to Jason, it goes in one ear and out the other within 5 seconds.
It's like kids, you tell kids don't do that, so they do it, and they're like, oh, I thought you told me to do it.
Yeah, I always say to him, he's got a goldfish memory. And he literally has. He literally has.
Night, Mick. I hope your mum's okay.
You have a good night, Mick. Getting late in Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 10:12 here, so 10 p.m. just after. Mick's in Victoria. I think they're on the same time as New South Wales. So there you go. Thank you, Mick.
Yeah, I've had to get me a coffee. Actually, Julia, can you give me a second because I really need 2 paracetamol. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. 8:12 a.m. here. Where are you, Jack, in the shop? Oh, you're probably part of the US, are you? I'm not sure if they're at 8 a.m. or a bit earlier over there. Oh, thank you, everyone. Thanks for dropping all those links. I don't mind you guys dropping links. I'm not against that here. We're all here to get to know each other and, delve into the paranormal world together.
You can send me all the links you want.
Good night, Mick.
No, I'm just eating my paracetamol.
That's all right. Oh, do you have chewable?
No, I'll just eat. I like them. I like the taste of paracetamol.
Oh. I always found them to be chalky, a little bitter.
I'll just chew them. Never saw. It's really odd because everything else I swallow, but paracetamol I chew them. Find they work better.
Yeah, they get into your bloodstream quicker.
It's these new meds. After a certain number of hours after I've took them, gives me an headache for about half an hour. So I just take a couple of paracetamol to get rid of it.
Yeah.
9:45 in South Australia.
It's like for my migraines, when I get migraines, I have like these little dissolving wafers, and they tell me to stick them under my tongue because they get into your bloodstream quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones they gave me were really horrible. They look like algae tablets to feed fish.
Yeah.
They look like algae tablets. They were little green things, and they were horrible.
Oh God. Hi, Jason.
I'm not eating a lolly. Oh, talk of the devil.
Oh, you need to.
Jason.
No, different Jason. Australian
When you
Jason.
said Jason, then I thought, oh, talk of the devil.
No. Thank you, Carol.
Thanks, Carol. Now I'm eating paracetamol, Jazz, not a lolly at the moment. I keep looking at the box of Maltesers, but if I start them, I'll never say nothing for the rest of the stream.
Oh, they bought back. There you go, Carol. I just got your channel too. They bought back the thing where you can click next to their name in the chat and it goes go to channel.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, they bought it back.
Yeah, time. That
Bloody
time. I really missed that feature.
Oh, me too. I was so mad when they took that away.
It's so easy to block everybody's channels now.
Yep. That too.
No, but it's really annoying if you're on, especially if you're on a stream that don't allow links in the chat, and people, and you think, oh, I'll sub to them because they start, they're talking a lot of sense, and then you can't bloody find them by doing the YouTube search.
I know that especially if they've only got a couple of subs or something, or if they don't
Yeah.
make many videos. Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on with YouTube at the moment with the searching and the notifying and stuff, but it's really gone bad since the last update. Really bad.
Yep.
I keep getting recommended really weird things that I've never even looked at.
Oh, it drives me insane. I wish that they would just put it back to how it was. It
Yeah.
worked that way.
Yeah. But I'm glad they've put their option back in. Did you know that, Sam?
What?
They've put the option back in now where you click the person's name on the side of the chat and you go straight to the channel. They've finally put it back.
Yeah, but lately they've made changes that I don't like at all.
No.
You know,
I've just been talking to Julie about it.
My recommended page doesn't come up, but I normally see.
Yeah, mine's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
You know?
Highly frustrating.
And people are watching like a regular, like Sam. The other day, Sam had posted 2 videos, and I actually found out about them on Facebook, not on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's frustrating because I do work really hard, and you know, we find it hard enough to get out into the YouTube world, you know, because we're smaller channels or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's made even harder and harder now, for some reason.
Mark and Annette said, "Are you guys losing numbers?" I haven't lost any, and I think
no, I'm okay.
Yeah, no, we haven't lost any.
I'm on a standstill actually, which would be understandable on my main channel because I haven't been out, but I will be.
The thing is though, YouTube do every so many months they do an internal clear out.
Yeah.
It all happens behind the scenes, and any accounts that have been either banned or haven't been used for so long, they clear them out, and that can be why your numbers drop.
Yeah. Normally I'm gaining about 10 a month and that, but it's slowed down. Possibly because stuff isn't getting out there. But I haven't posted on my main channel properly in a while, but I will be,
Carol says, I always see video suggestions on things we have been talking about. I'll tell you something, Carol, it's frightening nowadays how much cross-platform that's happening. Because I have actually mentioned, say, something on Facebook on my normal everyday page, and then the second I go on to like Chrome, there's suddenly adverts for it. And I've even done it where I've been having conversations with Jace over stuff, and adverts have started popping up on the browser. And I'm convinced this bloody Alexa's doing a lot of it. Convinced of it.
That's why Alexa's off most of the time. I'm not comfortable having it on all the time. It is very useful in a lot of cases where, you just want to put the radio on, or you're asking specific questions and want to get a...
I'll ring your bell anytime you want me to, Jazz.
I tell you what, I was having a conversation with my dad a few days ago, talking on the phone, and something came up in our conversation. And it was later that night or the next day, I was getting adverts for something that we were talking about. And I never Google searched it or anything. It was just a phone call. Yeah.
I have that happen a lot nowadays.
Yep.
Because your phone listens in all the while as well, don't you? It's not just Alexa, your phone does it as well.
Yep. They listen all the time.
Apparently even computers, when you turn a computer off, no, don't quote me on this, it doesn't actually turn off.
Yeah.
Good morning, Dave.
Yeah. That's why when you update something, you restart, not turn off and then turn back on again. Because then some of these updates won't happen unless you just restart. You know?
Yep.
Big Brother is listening to us all from various sources nowadays. There's no way to escape it.
Yep. And they've admitted to it as well.
Yeah. Even if you've got a mobile phone, you are being monitored 24/7. Unfortunately.
Yeah, some ordinary gamers actually came up with a video recently about TikTok, and it concerns the United States government are really wanting to possibly ban TikTok again
Oh, really?
because of information. You see, information. TikTok was a Chinese website, right? Now Trump wanted to ban TikTok, but then TikTok changed hands to a United States firm, but it's still sort of owned by China. Now, even if the data is not transferred over to China, people in China can still go over and get the data there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where things get a little bit complicated and that, and there is concerns about TikTok. But the thing is, Facebook is even worse. You know,
Yeah.
Facebook is one of the biggest culprits of
Yeah.
all of this. You know.
Yeah. That all the social media are jumping on it, and Facebook. The thing that I don't like about Facebook is the amount of dodgy sellers they have on there lately. They're selling all these dodgy little devices and stuff, and when people pay for them, they never even receive them, or they receive something entirely different to what's shown in the advert. You know, they really need to start regulating on the online world a bit more.
Yeah, if they're going to pay money, I will be paid money, I should say, for having adverts and things on there. They should be regulating them. Absolutely, they're responsible.
I've seen.
Well, it's like YouTube with your AdSense. My AdSense is currently sitting at £58.75p, and they've been sitting on that for months. I mean, since last October, I earn about 60 quid a year off YouTube, and I'm coming once it plus 60 quid. They'll pay it out to me, but I'm currently sitting on like £58.75. So for the next couple of months, it'll probably cross that, and I'll get it in the next few months. But for that entire time, for the last 12 months, and I know it's only 58 quid, but YouTube have been sitting on that, getting interest off it. Where my thing is, once you get it, they should pay it to you, sort of thing. They shouldn't sit on it until it crosses a certain threshold. Because us small channels, we don't make masses of money on YouTube off ad read. Like I say, I'll probably get about £1 a month if I'm lucky on ad revenue.
I've an audio engineer friend, living in this country, and she's got a channel. Now she doesn't put a while lot up, but she's got 2 or 3 videos. Now, most of the 2 or 3 videos, some of them have lower views, but the one that has the higher view...
You have a good night, Carol.
YouTube has actually put their own ads on. So they're making money off that video because it's got higher views. They stuck ads on it for themselves.
Yeah.
She doesn't get any money from it. She's not in the partnership program.
Yeah, I honestly think if your channel is not monetized or you are not claiming your ad revenue, they should not drop ads on your videos. Because now, and I don't know what it's like for you two, but before I used to watch videos on YouTube, and you get the ones where you have to watch them for 6 minutes and then you can click off them. Now they all seem to be 25 seconds long, and or 30 seconds, and you get 2 of them that you're forced to watch before you can even start watching the video you want to watch.
Yep. Oh my God, another one.
Yeah, I wish I'd stop deleting it. I don't get a chance to copy it before.
Okay.
Make sure you go into those channels and block them manually, because you just need to eliminate a lot of that,
But that particular one, that is hitting every single channel I have been on in the last 3 weeks is getting hit by that. There's actually a channel I go watch a lot in Scotland, which is another bird watching channel. The Guardman. They have actually been forced to turn their chat off because they're being hit by it every few minutes, and there's kids on there watching birds.
It's terrible. It's awful.
But YouTube could stop this in an instant because they have actually.
Jazzy said, Brett, stop posting your websites.
And guess what? They're all pictures of Julie and Sam.
Oh God.
You're not going to make any money off mine.
You know the one thing I was going to ask about AdSense? Do you automatically get paid, or do you have to claim it?
As soon as you cross 60, as soon as they owe you £60 or more,
They'll
it's
pay
paid. It's paid the following month.
Yeah.
So
For this month.
So if you get a super chat or something, you probably won't get that super chat now for 2 months, Julie, and they will take their cut out of it as well.
Oh yeah, but it goes into the total. Yeah. They don't just.
But if you go into the total, and it's different for each country. I don't know. Is it $100 for Australia, something like that?
100.
And over here it's £60. So as soon as your AdSense money crosses £60, Sam, they will pay it on round about the 23rd of the next month.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, because I'm having some difficulties. You know, I had my own card. It won't accept my own card, and I had to use somebody else's account, but I'm not getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to look into that now.
Yeah,
if you log into your AdSense account, it'll tell you how much you're currently owed at the moment.
Mm.
But I think I earn something. It's normally about £1, £1.20 a month. I'll get on ads. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
And I ain't done any lives for ages, so nobody sent me any super chats recently. So that ain't bumped it up.
I was hoping we would do some lives to get away from the last one that we done. Mm-hmm. I was saying to a friend of mine about some of the things that came out of those mystery boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what to say. I was mortified.
Oh, wasn't that good though? Wasn't that video amazing?
I was thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on?
We should do more stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, we should actually.
We should. We really should.
I really need to set up a live stream. I might actually, if you two are available, I'll do one next Friday. Because I ain't done one on the channel for ages. So you're going to have to get up early, Julie.
Yeah, that's all right. Friday's good for me. The kids are on holidays at the moment.
Well, it'll be Saturday morning for you, won't it?
Yes, it will, yeah. The only days I'm busy next week is Tuesday, Wednesday, because I've got to go help my dad.
Yeah, I'll do one on Friday.
Yep.
But that they've really started banging out the adverts lately, YouTube.
Yeah, they have.
There's a lot less of them short 6-second ones, and they seem to be doing a lot of. They're either 15, 20, or 30 seconds long, and you're forced to watch 2 of them before you can even watch the video you want to watch. Because I said to Jace the other day, I said YouTube now. I says it ain't videos with adverts; it's adverts with videos in between.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and some of these videos, the ads are longer than the actual videos. They're actually videos themselves.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. And it depends on how long the videos are too, whether they'll throw adverts in the middle of them or not.
Yeah.
I remember I got an advert for an actual paranormal channel, and it's one of these fucking, I think it was Life After Life series or whatever you call it. You know, the guy that had the conversation with Jesus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was flipping mortified that this guy is advertising on my channel.
God.
Something that I think is damaging to the paranormal field.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. See, that is something else that I think YouTube should allow creators control of. You should be allowed to pick what categories of adverts you have appear on your channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they shouldn't just be chucking any old rubbish up there, because some things are inappropriate for certain things, regardless of YouTube claiming they account for that, because they don't a lot of the time.
Yeah. it'd be like some of the people that I've mentioned before, have a certain amount of money and they can pay for some advertising, and they'll put their paranormal channel out on other paranormal channels, even though we think they are destructive to the paranormal field, and that would turn the paranormal field completely on its head. It would, as big as a dumpster fire it is now, it would make it even worse.
I refuse to pay YouTube to take the adverts off my channels, because the way I look at it, they make enough money off the interest off my AdSense revenue. And I think when you're part of the YouTube partner program, your account should be ad free anyway. That should be part of the partner program. You're making money for them. That should be like a little bonus that you can watch things ad free. They make enough money off it.
I do find YouTube extremely frustrating, because I know a guy in town. He's now living in the UK, but I know him personally, and he is blowing up in the drama community right now. Adam McIntyre. No, not saying bad anything about Adam McIntyre and that. Fair play to him for being a success. But there's no intros, there's no outros, and it's all based on Trisha Paytas, James Charles, and just talking to the camera. There's no intros, there's no outros, there's no edits and stuff like that. And within a couple of minutes, he's got more views than I have on my flipping channel, on my main channel. It just blows up. It's crazy, and it's very, very difficult to get into that level, if you can get in there at all. And I drama is the way of getting into that. But
gossip sells. Unfortunately, that's modern day society.
Yeah,
people seem to be more interested in watching people's downfalls and misfortune than anything else.
Yeah, but in Adam's case, now, he's a nice guy, don't get me wrong, because if he sees a video he might think I'm criticising him, but he just turns on the camera and talks to the camera. Hi guys, and then talks about, today we want to talk about Trisha Paytas, and let's go through the video, and that. No intros, no outros, no fancy edits or nothing, and over 200,000 subscribers. And I'm thinking to myself, how to flip to YouTube.
It blows my mind, people like that.
Adam B the same. Adam B has gone over. He's gone over 1 million, and it's still based on doing pranks with his family, which went out of fashion about 10 years ago. But at the same time, he does very, very good work, charity work for the community and stuff like that. But
I wouldn't want my channel to blow up. I don't want to lose the community on my channel. And I honestly do think once you get to a certain size, a lot of people just totally turn their back on the communities. And I don't want to do that, and I don't want to be in that position. I don't want millions of strangers on my channel yabbling things to me. I'd rather speak to people I speak to every week. I know what they're like, they know what I'm like, they know what we like to talk about, and it keeps everything nice. And all this, just quoting people who send you a super chat, that really gets up my nose. You shouldn't be milking people like that.
See, when we go live, we got this familiarity of the 10 to 20 people that are on the channel, and we can interact with all of them. If you've got hundreds of people in a chat, you cannot interact with them personally.
No. Well, so you go on some of these channels and the chat's scrolling up that quick, you can't read it anyway. You cannot follow a conversation on there.
Yeah,
like a lot of these people I've known since back when I started. Kim, Jackie Evelyn, I mean, even you guys, I'm pretty sure I met you. Sam, I think I knew before Brett, even before you. It's years now. I've known you guys for years.
You were still streaming with Fee when I started watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think we met over, I think, Haunted Dolls. I think.
Yeah. And I
Oh,
got
that says it all. No class.
Mm.
oh yeah, I got Clara. I think within my first year on YouTube because I joined in October 2017. This will be 5 years this October that I've been on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a long time.
Just says, and they become fake. It's bad content as they just start making
Like
SHIT because they're now big.
yeah,
It's not that they're making SHIT. It's the fact that they've got to make something because they get so addicted to the money rolling in. They just don't want it to stop, sort of thing. You know, the amount of big YouTubers I've seen lately in the your news section on YouTube where people's community posts pop up, and
yep.
they're all moaning that the revenue's dropped, and and these people are still turning over 100,000 a month. You know,
Yeah, I've seen that.
they really shouldn't be complaining. They should be grateful for what they're getting.
Oh
They
yeah.
Yeah,
really should.
absolutely.
And you find the more they get, the more they want. And
Yeah.
I can't understand that mentality. It's just greed.
But do you notice these a lot of these young people, they blow up on social media, YouTube and all the rest of it, and they all of a sudden get have all this money, and the way they just squander it,
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
no control whatsoever. Like,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
and they buy stuff just to flex. You know that kind of way.
Yeah, yeah,
You can only drive one car at a flipping time, like. Do you know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly.
And it could all fall apart in an instant.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Jackie, you did.
Mm.
I met Jackie through Andy and Becky. That's why I'd never want to get big
Yeah, that's
because I'd never want to be in that position where I'm forced to ignore people because there's that many in there you can't keep track. And
yeah.
the people who start off with you are the people who put you there, and a lot of them just turn the back on them, and I just find that so ungrateful and so disrespectful to the people who actually put you where you are.
And that's what a main part of this is as well. It's the people, and I mean, it's not just a little clique of people. Like if I sat up here and with you guys, and I spoke to say just Kim, Jazz, and Julia,
Yeah,
and all the other people I just kind of just sat here and ignored,
yeah,
that'd be pretty shitty of me. I'd be a pretty
yeah,
pissy
yeah,
person, I think.
yeah.
You have to engage with your community and you have to treat them as equals. You can't just pick a few of your favourites out, and I see that so much.
Yeah.
So many streams I go into, and they don't even have to be big streams, and you can be completely ignored. And I think that's so important, is engaging with them and saying hello and just including them into the conversation.
Yeah, because my eyesight isn't that great. I use the pop up chat on the screen to actually read the comments. So usually, almost all comments end up on the screen at some point, so I can actually read them.
Yeah, that sounds about right, Jackie Evelyn, because I can remember just after I got Clara, I went bushwalking once and I took her with me and I did a spirit box session. And that's around the time that I met Jackie Evelyn.
Yeah.
So I don't think Sam's got the comments popped up, so
No.
he's probably wondering what the hell we're laughing at.
Brett wrote, I found Julie when I googled naughty Aussie mums and her channel popped up.
Well, do you know where I'm going to tomorrow? I'm going to the Rogan house.
What's
What's the Rogan house?
It's the house that was built in a park in the Ulster American Folk Park. It was taken from America, dismantled, put on pallets, quarantined for 2 years, and then brought over to Ireland, reassembled, and there is they reckon there's stone tape going on.
Why did they quarantine him?
Because of there might be bugs and diseases in the stone and stuff in the brick and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But when they reassembled the house, they're hearing kids running up and down the stairs. And stuff.
That one. Yep.
I still probably won't be able to get upstairs, unfortunately. And it is going to be a 4th of July celebration, even though it's going to be the 3rd because it's Sunday here. So it is going to be busy, and it's probably just going to be a tourist walk around again,
Mm-hmm.
And a place like that should be studied scientifically.
Yeah. See, that is quite interesting, Sam, because back in my own home in Dudley, there's a place there called the Black Country Living Museum, and they have actually dismantled all Victorian buildings and stuff, and anything connected to like the Industrial Revolution, and they have actually rebuilt them to the point. Not only have they used the same bricks, they have put the bricks back in exactly the same place they were in the original building. They're all numbered.
Yeah.
And they have got a number of ghost sightings they report on that site now. So, it's really, that for me is one of the strongest indicators that stone tape theory is actually a thing. Because not only have the buildings been moved, these reports of these sightings has moved with them.
Well, a good example of that too, my dad told me a story. Now, my dad's always closed up about the paranormal, and he's opened up more about it since I've been doing it. And he told me a story about when he was younger, probably about 5 or 6, and he said he was staying at, I think, his uncle's place or something like that, and they were all sleeping on the lounge room floor. And he said he was woken up in the middle of the night, and he said he knows he wasn't dreaming. He saw a woman come through the room in a black lacy gown, like old-fashioned, and she's kind of just looking around, and then she walked off through the wall of the lounge room, and Dad found out that there used to be a doorway there, and they closed it up. Yeah. So
see, because if you think about it, a lot of ghost stories, and going back through the years, if you say ghost to people, one of the first things people always say is walking through walls. That's one of the categories that people always associate through ghosts. So to me, that suggests that the majority of hauntings are, more stone tape than they are actually intelligent. They're there's definitely a lot more residual hauntings out there than there are intelligent hauntings.
Yeah, there was actually a TV paranormal team. What do you call them? Ghost Hunters International. Barry Fitzgerald is part of that. He now lives in Sligo and he does folklore tales and stuff like that. But they were actually investigating the Limavady workhouse one night, and through the window upstairs, just off the stairs, and you're looking down into the yard. What they seen was a nurse in a nurse's uniform walk towards and go into the wall outside. Now, they were wondering what was going on, and they asked the owner or the caretaker what was the story about this corner. He says there used to be a door there, and inside that area was a little telephone exchange.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which was no longer there. The wall was actually bricked up and stuff like that. And the image was the footage was quite easy to make out. You know.
Mm-hmm. Jazz says, "Do you guys believe in the Amityville horrors?" Me personally, no, and the reason why is the photographs that the what's the names, the Warrens took. They are highly suspect. The families that lived in the house and actually propagated it in the first place were very commercial, as were the following family. And basically, since then, every family who's moved into that house has not reported a single occurrence in that house whatsoever. I personally think it was all done for money, because the original family who bought it was actually right at the top of their budget, and I think it actually put them into a financial situation, and they saw it as an ideal opportunity to make money. I personally don't. Amityville, yeah.
Yeah, are you talking about the DeFeo family or the one after?
No, the one after. What were the names? The DeFeo family were the ones who were murdered.
Yeah. Because it's interesting. This came up a couple of weeks ago when I was talking to Cemeteries Down Under and that, because I'd been watching interview tapes that were done with Ronnie DeFeo in jail.
Yeah.
And he actually said that, and he could be lying. I'm not, debating that, but he said in his own words, his family was a family of crime, and there was a lot going on, and he was on drugs, and he shot his family, and the people who were in there after made up the story to make money off the story.
Yeah.
So,
and I believe, I'm trying to think what their name was.
When
they bought the house, that they paid more money than they'd really got, and that they would Lutz, that was it, and they were desperate for cash.
Yeah,
and that's why it was done. And if you look into the story of them, what happened after, there was a lot of wrangling over money between the Lutzes and the people, the publicists and all that kind of thing. There was a lot of money wrangling involved, and everybody who's lived there since, not a single person has ever witnessed another encounter in that house. Not one.
Yeah.
I'm very suspect of all Warren cases, including including Annabelle the doll.
Oh yeah. Again, I know people worship the Warrens, but again, I think they were totally money orientated.
That's a hard one for me, because like when before I got into the paranormal world, I really looked up to them. Like I've been big fans of theirs. I don't know.
And believe me, a lot of what they show in the Conjuring films, Julie's favourites. I'm going to shatter all her dreams now.
No, I know a lot of it's not even legit, and they say that too.
Yeah, especially is it the Conjuring 2 that covers the Enfield poltergeist?
Yeah, Enfield, yep.
What a lot of people don't realise is that the Warrens actually turned up to Enfield totally uninvited. They were only in the house a matter of hours, and then Morris, the guy from the Society for Psychical Research,
Morris Groves, is it?
Yeah, from the SPR, he asked them to leave because there was a lot of professional conflict going on there. So the Warrens were only there for a matter of hours. They weren't invited. They turned up, pretty much uninvited, and they were basically asked to leave after a couple of hours. So all the happy guitar playing and everything in the house and what went on never happened. The Conjuring 2 is totally fictional.
I know that there's like the movies are full of fiction, and a lot of it's just like for Hollywood. But I saw there was a paranormal group who were allowed in the Warren Museum not long ago, and they were talking to the son-in-law. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah,
And
I
he
know who
was,
you're on about.
yeah, and
He's actually owner of the doll now.
yeah, he owns the museum now because he's married to their daughter Judy.
Yeah.
He said that they were there for a week
No, they
in
weren't.
the UK.
They were in the
for that.
UK for a week, but they were only at the actual house a matter of hours, and they were told to go. Basically, they were told to
Ah,
leave.
Do you
okay.
know? And the son-in-law does try to come across as legit, but he brought Annabelle the doll in a suitcase to Zach Biggins' museum
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
was handling with gardening gloves. I mean, like, come on, guys,
Yeah,
genie
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Do you know this thing? And then
the
Zach going, "Oh, I touched them," and
Yeah,
lying
the
on the floor. No.
The theatrics in that video were incredible. Absolutely
know-
incredible.
And if the brother-in-law or the son-in-law was 100% legit, he wouldn't have had anything to do with that particular episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he would have called out the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Yeah.
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 But the Warrens are actually demon obsessed as well.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Mr. Warren was a self-appointed demonologist.
Yeah.
He was not appointed by the Catholic Church.
Yeah,
at
and
all.
this is the thing, they really pushed the Catholic angle with the Warrens, or the Warrens pushed the Catholic angle. But what they were doing would not have been approved by the Catholic Church in a million years. You know, they were never Vatican sanctioned in any way, shape or form, regardless of the impression they love to give.
Yeah.
You're not knocking on it.
Ghost Adventures is beyond a joke, Jack. But they are responsible. Them and people like Most Haunted over here in the UK are responsible for a lot of the woes in modern day paranormal on YouTube and stuff now.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah. I do watch it for... It can be educational if you watch it and try to debunk a lot of the things that are going on. It's very a good debunking tool. To watch shows. It really is. What way can be done differently?
Ghost Adventures is something you watch to learn how not to do something, not to learn how to do it.
Yeah. Or a bit of comedy to laugh at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know? I do have an interest in some of the technology which can be interesting. When what's the white haired guy's name? Bill Chappell comes up with something weird and that. It can be interesting then and that, you know. There's a good input there. But Zach is, the Ghost Adventures thing. It's a filming company. It has to make money. You know.
You know, and he's made a very good living out of the paranormal, Zach Bagans. You know, with what he bought for his museum and stuff, and he has made himself a multi-millionaire by conning people with the paranormal.
Yeah, he started off with him and a couple of friends, and they were driving around this Nissan Cube, a little small and tiny car, and that.
Yeah.
And it's grown to what it is now, you know.
Yeah.
But I think Zach is he's a bit bossy, I think. I wouldn't like to work with him because I would not get on with him at all.
Personally, I think the guy's a slime ball, but that's just a personal opinion.
Do you know the way he treats other people?
Yeah.
Do you know he has this authority figure, and the word please and thank you doesn't seem to come into his vocabulary at all.
No.
You know?
Hello, Brie and Andy.
Just get the shit out of me.
Well, and me then. What is interesting about the amateur? The only interesting. It made me jump, Sam.
Sorry.
Just typical gobby Aussies. You get used
You
to
want to go? You want to go change your jocks? You change
God, my
it,
heart
the
choked.
thing that, as I was saying before somebody foghorn, what is interesting about the Amityville thing is that from how it happened and how the bodies were found, it is now looking like it was possible his sister actually helped him do the murders, and then he murdered her before it was all over. Because the sister, the eldest sister, was as mentally unstable as he was, as Ronnie was.
Yeah, he mentions that in the interviews about how she was supposed to be in on it, and then kind of changed her mind, and then they had a bit of a scuffle.
Spat, and he finished her because they estimate certain people in the house were shot at the same time, sort of thing.
Oh.
It's actually interesting, Sky, the amount what the military are actually admitting to now with the recent UFO video releases they've done. That has really surprised me in relation to the military. You know, because they sit on things for decades before they release it. But a lot of what they've released recently is quite modern. Really surprised me how much of the alien stuff they've released.
Well, do you remember the blind psychic woman who made all the predictions and stuff? She said that it was going to be this year that the aliens were supposed to have like come out and everyone finds out about them and stuff. And you know, I don't buy into the predictions too much, but
see, I think, you know, all these films about aliens and all what the military have done over the decades, it's been like a way to desensitize us to the fact that there's things out there. I do honestly believe that the powers that be are not only aware of them, but are actually in contact with them. I do honestly believe that. And I think, you know, it's interesting. Hang on, Sam. Let me get this point out or I'll forget it. I think it's really interesting the fact that things have started to speed up a little bit in terms of disclosure. So it does make you think, you know, in the next 10, 20 years is something scheduled to happen.
Yeah.
I think the reason why a lot of this was kept classified is because a lot of these governments, especially the United States government, they want to harvest that technology, and it's not for the good of mankind. It's to use against other countries.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's defense and war purposes, which is a sad part of all of this.
Well, if you think of you think say America gets access to what we call a UFO, and they suddenly get the ability to use anti-gravity engines and stuff like that. You think of the tactical advantage they would have over everybody else in the world. If you know, if they'd got ships that could turn on a dime and, you know, travel faster than the speed of light. The offensive capabilities and the military capabilities are off the charts against every other country in the world.
Yeah.
We know about all the little grey men and UFOs diving into the ocean and stuff. Do you think that there are some form of alien that looks very similar to us that's already blended into society? Do you think there's any credibility in that?
I
think that's what the Men in Black are.
Yeah.
I have a couple of neighbours that I highly suspect by their behaviour.
I know here where I live there is more than one illegal alien here, and I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I ain't saying they're extraterrestrial though.
Yeah, the reason I say that is some of these people don't seem to behave like rest of society does.
Yeah.
You know, but in terms of aliens already being here, I think they've been here a long while.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
think they've actually been here before we were. I think we're here because they've been here. If you know what I mean.
Mm. I think the technology goes beyond electronics. You know,
Yeah.
electricity has got nothing to do with it. It's some other force that we haven't tapped into.
Yeah. There's so many different forms of energy. You know, who knows what's out there in the galaxies? There could be all sorts of undiscovered energy sources out
Yeah,
there.
but when you think about the world's energy, actually the energy companies are more powerful than the governments, and that's why
Yeah.
our technology can be suppressed by the
Yeah.
energy companies.
Well, basically, we live on one giant magnet. If you think about it,
Yes.
you know, the Earth itself generates magnetic energy. We basically sit on a giant battery.
Mm.
Damn.
Right, I'm just reading the chat.
Yeah, me too. I was just saying, Andy is Blue Mountains. Julia and Jason are Sydney. So they're all pretty close together.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned earlier on that they were building a SLS camera.
I thought you were going to say UFO then, Sam.
No, no.
Was that
No.
Jack in the shop?
Yeah. Just want to add a little tip there. Make sure you understand exactly what an SLS camera does. I have a couple of videos on investigations in Sharon Rectory, and it'll show you the little laser dots, and those little laser dots measure the distance from the camera to the object that it hits. That's how it makes the 3D image. But if you move that camera, the system has to reset itself. So the best thing to do with an SLS camera is keep it absolutely still and do not move it at all. Because every time you even move it a millimeter, the whole system has to constantly reset itself. When you see somebody walking around with an SLS camera, it's not resetting. It's constantly trying to recalibrate itself, and very often it then will get confused and map into a shape close to a human being. Then your stick figure forms. If you keep it still, put it on a tripod, and keep it like that, it can be useful too. You know, I mean, like a 3D mapping camera is awesome technology. You know, and there is programs within that where you could use and not use the stick figure. It can be very, very useful. But just remember, every time you move the camera, even a couple of millimeters, the camera needs to recalibrate itself again.
Yeah, so put it on a tripod.
Yeah, just keep it still.
Well,
Yep.
you know my opinions on them, but it's not just the camera itself. You really need to look into how the software works, because all camera software is based off Microsoft's Kinect software, and that software is actually designed to invent limbs if it can't find them. So stick figures will be generated even if stick figures aren't there.
Yeah, but you know, it's got potential because it is an actual 3D camera.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah, but I would say 99 and I often say this: 99.9% of what is generated by an SLS camera is complete junk.
Yeah, I went to the cemetery with that app. No hate on the app, but I went to the cemetery with it. It was mapping giants in trees and
That's right,
midgets on headstones. And no offense, I shouldn't use that word. You know what I mean? Dwarfs on headstones, little man.
To be honest with you as well, Julie, is the app is not an S. It can call itself an SLS camera as much as it wants to. It is not an SLS camera. because it's working entirely different to how SLS cameras work.
Yeah, that's right.
The app is working totally off looking for contrasting colours on a picture, whereas an SLS actually measures the distance of lasers. It's an entirely different.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the reason why we could see those lasers is because I when I done the investigation in Sharon Rectory, I was going around with a night vision camera and I was picking up these dots. There was 2 or 3 people with SLS cameras walking around polluting the environment with these lasers, moving them around all the time. It frustrated me. Because I was picking them up on my night vision camera, just these flipping lasers everywhere,
Yeah. And basically, another thing with SLS is you've got to be aware of what the range is, because their optimal range is about 5 meters. Anything closer or anything further away, and that camera, the accuracy of it drops off significantly.
I'm just going to check my wood fire.
Okay. But this is why you find that a lot of the times when people use these SLS cameras, they get little dancing figures. They always seem to appear in doorways, or they appear on cupboard doors and stuff like that. It's because the camera is actually picking up abnormalities in the surface of the walls and doors. That's why they always tend to appear. And the other one, Sam, is when people sit on a sofa and they reach out to a supposed figure, and it reaches back. That is because the software doesn't differentiate between 2 separate figures. So as soon as the hands get close, they presume it's an hand. They presume it's an hand on both figures, and it looks like they're touching.
Yeah, I mean, like, the camera itself has got a lot of potential, but it does have a long way to go. Now, I don't know what is in Bill Chappell's software. It could be completely and utterly different.
All software it has to be based off Microsoft's, because they own the patent on the actual technology. So it has to be a variance of their software. Their APK, their Connect APK has to be the basis of what anybody else does.
But I was wondering, is Bill Chappell's camera based on the Xbox camera, or is it completely
because whether he builds it or not himself, the actual technology of measuring lasers is actually owned by Microsoft. So they still own the patent. Even if you build your own SLS from scratch, technically Microsoft still own the patent on the design, because you're using their their patented technology. I would love to see the Julie, would be amazing, and I want to see Hamilton live. I saw orbs in it when I first watched it. Hang on a sec, I'll be back in a sec.
Jump scare. Everybody has left me. Been accustomed to seeing figures and faces in my spur bottle when the SLS camera maps things. I can see why recently. Is it going? Yeah. I have used the SLS camera, but what I found is, you can turn the SLS camera into a portable device. You can connect up a camera and whatever, or a battery pack. What I found, and a lot of people found, is when you bring it and you transport it and you set it up in another place, very often it's plagued with problems. I turn on the camera and it just won't link up with the software, and I end up, it's not worth it,
Sorry, Sam. Neighbour just turned up with a 15 pack of Heineken for me for taking his parcels. Because Because when he's at work a day, I always have his parcels. He just brought me a present, 15 cans of Heineken, and I don't drink that much. I don't drink that much. That'll last me now all year.
15 cans?
Yeah, in a multi-pack.
Gee. Do you know? Yeah, it's very, it can be very, it can be very dodgy that, you miss a parcel and the parcel's left at your doorstep and somebody steals it. It's happened to me a number of times.
Well, yeah, the other day I had a 15-foot ladder turn up here, so I had to stick it in the back garden until he got back. But he's just knocked the door and he's standing there with 15 cans of Heineken. He's just given me.
Jeez. No. I used to send my parcels to Rachel's house, but she's now managing a shop, so I can't do that. I had to negotiate with the parcel delivery people because they were leaving them downstairs in a communal hallway that people come in and steal things.
Yeah, that was Coco. You could hear night. I believe Coco's part collie. I rescued her from Romania about 7 years ago, but she's very noisy when anybody comes near the house. Put it that way.
Especially the postman.
Yeah, I'm hoping the postman's going to hurry up and come and get it over and done with.
Rachel's Yorkshire Terrier, he barks at everybody that comes to the door as well.
Well, they don't even have to come to the door. If they walk past or stand outside the house talking, they get it.
Yeah, that would do my head in. My dog would run to the door, but she never barks.
Kaya don't bother. If Kaya starts making a noise, I know there's somebody definitely there.
Oh yeah, we were talking about reincarnation and those other subjects. There's an interesting book, and it actually is by a medical doctor, called Return to Life. You can find it on Amazon. Very, very interesting read. Do you know? I've only read the section at the moment where, do you know, in some cultures they mark the body of the dead, and when these people are then buried or whatever, and that particular mark in the shape of what they marked the body turns up on somebody when they're born.
Phone's going now, back in a sec.
Okay.
Which possibly indicates that reincarnation could be actually possible.
Yep.
Because in the book it indicates that there was 28 cases of bodies that were marked after death, and those specific marks turned up on people after birth sometime later. So it's going to be an interesting read. I picked this one up on Amazon. Actually, this is a used copy, hardback. You can get it in hardback or paperback. You know, so anybody that's interested in that, it is by a medical doctor, so medical science is involved in that. So
I've always been a big believer in the reincarnation. Yeah.
Do you know, with books, you still have to be careful with books, because anybody can write a book, you know.
I think my chair moved the lights a minute ago, but I was seeing like a shadow or something at the edge there. That's why I was looking. And then I moved my chair because, I felt, probably just my eyes playing tricks on me. That there's the wall there though. There's no breeze. You can feel the cold, but there's no breeze there. So the marks they put on the bodies,
yes,
were they birthmarks when they were reincarnated?
Yes.
They were, yep.
Yes. 28 separate cases.
The only birthmark I know that I have is on my inner thigh, on my left leg. I have a birthmark.
Do you know? Yeah, I have a number of different books on different subjects. Actually, they're up above there. Do you want me to take them down?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, but just a second.
Okay. My son was born with a stork bite too. Can't remember what they said about stork bites.
Means you've been bit by a stork.
No, my son was born with a stork bite on the back of his head.
A lot of people are born with, especially people who can remember past lives with actually marks on them where they claim they've been wounded or something. That's quite common.
Yeah, we were just talking about birthmarks, and I said the only one that I have that I know of is on my inner left thigh. I have a faint birthmark.
Right.
Don't be rude. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
It says enter the dragon.
I was watching your face. And then I saw you smile.
What does it say? Enter the dragon or keep off the grass?
Right. I have a number of books, but I haven't actually got around to reading a lot of them yet. But I can show you anyway.
What are books?
Books. Books.
Books.
They're like books, except they have oops.
Parapsychology by
Caroline
Watts. Caroline Watts, right? I haven't read that. It was in the bargain bin of my crystal store, so I took that up. And what I have here too is because I use different frequencies and stuff like that. I use UHF, EHF, FM, and all the rest of it. All the UK and Ireland airband and frequencies to airports and other places, so I can have a reference to them.
Sammy, if ever you got raided, they'd think you were a terrorist.
Oh yeah, there's radio equipment all over the place.
You'd be arrested as a terrorist.
Now, the next one is from somebody that I look highly up to in the ITC field, the ghost hunting and paranormal community on YouTube. Isn't really that interested in general, but it's a journal by a journal of Marcello Bacci, and that is by Annabella Cardoso. Marcello Bacci was the person that originally got me into ITC, an Italian who was getting radio communications with a military radio and supposedly talking to people's dead relatives. Now, I am from Ireland, so I have a book here from Sligo, and that's Sligo Folktales.
What's Sligo?
Sligo is just down from Donegal.
Oh, it's an area in Ireland.
Yes, and Sligo is steeped in folktales, so that is a folktale book.
That's kind of cool.
This one is from a person I actually know, and it's local, and it's from Emma Tully, and it's a book on Sharon Rectory, which I investigated a number of times. So that's her book that she released the year before last, I think it was. And I've got the book on the Lils. I can't even pronounce all of that. It's a guide to electronic voice phenomenon by Sarah Chumacero. Living life in full spectrum. So if anybody's interested in that.
Awesome Epic says apparently they were beheaded in a previous life.
Yeah.
Don't think I'd want to remember that.
No.
Another one from Annabella Cardoso, Electronic Contact with the Dead. what do the voices tell us? You know, Annabella Cardoso also has her own YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
When you're beheaded, don't you actually remember, like your brain's still functioning for a certain period of time?
30 seconds.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be terrifying?
Yeah, because you can actually see yourself, your body.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
here's one that I don't recommend. Ghost
What have you
Box
bought?
by Chris Moon. Chris Moon. Moving swiftly on.
Oh, I know, Chris. Yep. Okay. Next.
Electronic Voices, Contact with Another Dimension, another one by Annabella Cardoso. Also, you can get that on Amazon. EVP Lab 1.0 by John Gruber, PhD. I haven't read any of this yet, but there's that. I'll read it sometime. The internet goes out or something. Oh, what is ghosts? Supernatural or science? By Richard Felix.
Oh, Richard. Good old Richard.
Richard. What was it? There's
the
Richard
majority
there.
of the books you've pulled up have had ghosts on the front of them.
I have another one. Oh, this is the one that was in the bargain thingamajig. Paranormality, Why We Believe the Impossible, by Professor Richard Wiseman, and he has a couple of seminars on YouTube somewhere. You know, just thought it would be interesting. Oh yeah.
Sandow Bymud.
And then we got, you know, the usual, the Haunted series. You can get them in.
I bet that's good, Haunted Derry.
Yeah.
You can get Haunted anywhere. You can get, I think it's sort of UK based, but you can get Haunted Ireland, Haunted certain, you know, Donegal. I have the Donegal one. You can get any county in Ireland, but you can get any county in the UK as well. So,
I'll have to look them up then.
They're ghost stories and recollections from haunted stories in the past. Now, you know, we still have to question whether, you know, a story is actual fact, but an interesting book into paranormal history in your local area, sort of thing. If you are in Ireland or the UK, I don't know if they do any other countries, but you will get them in Ireland and the UK and the area that you live in, or any area that you're in.
I'll have to look them up.
You know, every time I hear of the town Derry, you know what I think of, right?
What?
The It Clown.
Yeah.
Would you like a balloon?
There is a
Derry one.
I think there's a Derry in the United States, is there?
Yeah, it's where
Yeah.
it's based.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
It's in Maine, isn't it?
I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah, it's in Maine.
Yeah. Well, Derry here, because there's a mainly two different communities. You will say the UK side of the community, and then we've got the Ireland side of the community.
Yeah.
Me being Irish, I call it Derry. The people that are sort of are under the crown would call it Londonderry.
Londonderry, yeah.
Yeah, so there's two different pronunciations for that.
Pennsylvania.
I thought it was in Maine.
Unless there's more than one. Pennsylvania, yeah.
I don't think this life is a punishment for a past life. I think we choose lessons, or I agree with that, Sky. I really do. I think each time we pick where we're going to go to learn new things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we know what we want to learn before we come here.
Yeah. and put ourselves in the situation to make sure we do.
Yep.
Yeah. But I just decided I'd show them books because a lot of people, they say to do research, we need to look beyond Wikipedia and YouTube, especially YouTube videos.
Now you've tried to look intellectual, Sam. How many of them have you actually read?
One, but I wouldn't say I've read the whole.
You need to get cracking.
I know. The good thing is most of them actually, I've read bits and pieces. You know what I mean? I haven't started at the beginning and whatever. I find it very hard to concentrate on that. But a lot of the books do have bigger writing, so it's easier to.
You sound just like Jace. Jace will make a book last him 6 months. Easily.
Man, I can read a book in a day.
Yeah, and me. And same with the film, Julie. He winds me up chronic watching films because he'll watch 20 minutes of it and then he'll stop watching it and he'll go, well, we'll watch it again tomorrow. And I'm like, no, I want to watch it now.
Yeah.
And he says his concentration is terrible.
Yeah.
As I said, goldfish memory.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've searched YouTube for, paranormal studies and stuff like that, and they're extremely hard to find. Proper paranormal studies and lectures and stuff like that. And it's great for me because I can sit and watch them rather than struggle reading or whatever. But very often, when it comes to paranormal, once you put paranormal in a tag, it's the entertainment that comes to the to the top.
Yeah.
All the actual facts are suppressed because people just don't have the patience for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're normally onto about page 10 of the search engine before you start finding what you're looking for.
Yeah, but I just find it fascinating. I do want to know the history and the old research methods and stuff like that, and it's just a shame it's been suppressed.
Do you know what would be really interesting to get some of your research that you've done, because you record everything, Sam? It would be good to get a lot of the research and pick out the best bits of evidence or the things you find, that stick out the most to you, and compile it into a book. Because you do a lot of ITC, and just the what you have learnt so far could go on to help somebody else.
Yeah, I've started recording and doing that in 2017, but if I look back, a few months, I cringe. I think the way I'm approaching ITC sessions now is a little bit less cringeworthy, and I think we often cringe at the stuff we've done in the past, and I think that's a sign that you progress a bit. And what I try to do the last month or so is try to put into my head that, right, I'm going to do a session for a half an hour. How can I conduct a session in a way that I could present that to science and then not say, well, fucking hell, get out of here. Do you know that kind of way? Because when you look at a lot of sessions, I don't think, some of these sessions, they, where people are jumping to conclusions, science isn't going to touch out a barge pole. And I have somebody in the audio industry. I want to present something where I don't jump to conclusions. And that's why my line of questioning has changed. The labels have gone, the belief is put aside, and we try to get information without going down a narrative. You very often will see on sessions or in the paranormal, people go down a narrative. It's spirits, it's ghosts, it's demons, it's whatever. I got spirits and demons without even pushing it. But, can I say that spirits and demons exist? I can't with that evidence that I've shown, because it's just a word.
Mm.
Do you know? Yes, somebody claimed yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I am the devil. And then somebody else says, he is the devil. What does that prove? It proves that somebody said that. That is it. There's nothing, there's no information around that. That is it. Do you know? So, it's very, very difficult to sort of combine all of that and try to get information from that. But one of the things that a lot of people don't do, and because I've got a Timex and the time is up, I say the time, whether it's AM or PM, and then I say the date. Now, if a scientist says, listen, I've been looking at your sessions there, I'm really interested and I want to look into this more. Could you tell me where your location is? And I could say, right, I live here. They could get the coordinates for where I am, then go back to that date and find out what the atmospheric conditions were that day.
Yep.
And if they go through a number of different sessions, they may be able to pinpoint a pattern where their atmospheric conditions may be some sort of factor. But to get somebody that interested in it, I don't know. Do you know?
The problem with the boxes as well with the ITC research is that, and I know that you're trying to make developments on this, but you don't know who's coming through the box. You don't know what's coming through the box. You don't know what their terminology of speech is like. I mean, as we said before, sometimes you might turn around and call your child, oh, you little devil. And when they're saying demon through the box, are they actually referring to someone, oh, you little devil? Or is it actually something that they're calling an entity? Or
it's quite possible.
So huge, like the possibilities are endless.
You see, this is where audio engineering would be very, very useful, and trying to go further with this, because you know as well as me that the communication isn't perfect. We're not having uninterrupted two-way conversation. You're having snippets of audio from a radio.
Yep.
And the theory is that when the sound comes out of the speaker, the electromagnetic field that is coming off that is manipulated. By the time it gets to your ear, it's manipulated into what they want to communicate. Now, I'm just after losing my frame of thought there. What we are also getting is we're also getting snippets of radio, and you will see these live streams, and some of these people that consider themselves very big into ITC, you will see the chat constantly flying down with every single word that comes out of that radio.
Yep.
And a lot of it has got nothing to do with the question asked. This is why the method, it's good, but it's not perfect. We're not having a two-way conversation. We're not having a two-way conversation like a phone conversation. So we have to try
I was just going to say, having said that, there's no denying that you're talking to something, because when you turn around and go, I need confirmation, can you say hi, Sam? And it goes, hi, Sam, friend. So there's something there, yeah.
It's happened a number of times. There's definitely an intelligence there. What it is, we don't exactly know. But a friend of mine says they have software that might be able to take away what we don't need and keep what we do need. And I says to them, we can't actually do that, because if we do that after we record, we're actually, how do you separate the wheat from the chaff? That's what we're trying to do, and it's impossible to do because we don't know what information is relevant and what it isn't. what do they use and what can be thrown away. So until we actually figure that out, we can't progress into two-way conversation. I think that's a long way off. But some people say that it's an old method, and the new method is apps. Apps is a completely different thing. It works in a completely different way. But we can't move on from the spirit box if we don't understand exactly how it works. We have to know fully how it works before we progress on to something that may produce better results for us, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, the last thing I want to talk about, paranormal wise, before we run out of time, because we've been going for 3 hours.
Yeah.
The other day, we watched a video on somebody talking to animals. Psychic.
Oh. Brilliant, yeah.
What was your opinions on that, Sam? Because in this video, this person sat there claiming the dog was telling them about going on holiday to Devon, blah, blah, blah. But the woman couldn't even work out what sex these dogs were and stuff. She had to ask the person doing the stream with them. Oh, I can't tell what they are. And you could... It was the biggest collection of Barnum statements and cold reading I have ever seen in my life. And the chat was absolutely incredible. These people lapped it up.
The reason why I brought your attention to it is because sometimes these unusual streams comes up, and it's good information on how to try and debunk what the person is saying.
Yeah.
You know, I just found, I don't know, is the woman...
Crazy is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, is she deluded into some sort of think that she's got some sort of a special gift there? I don't know. You can look at an animal, your own pet, and you can sort of in some ways indicate whether it wants to go out to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. You see, what I seen in that is she was basing all of this in an English language communication, which animals don't do.
Yeah.
Which blows that theory completely out of the water.
To me, it was the sheer amount of Barnum statements and cold reading. She sat there at one point, and they showed this video of this little terrier, and straight away she went, "He's telling me he's really loyal to his owners." Now, I ain't being funny. What dog is not loyal to its owner?
Yep.
You know, and it was that kind of caliber. And because he was a little terrier and running around, she was basically rattling off all the characteristics typical to terrier breeds. And then she started going, "Oh, he's telling me you're going to..." And she actually specifically named the town in Devon they were going on holiday to. And I sat there to Sam and I said, this woman, what she's done is she's basically sat on this channel, looked at who the regulars are, nipped on their bloody Facebook pages and gone to see what they're doing or are about to do. You know, it was just that specific with the information this woman was coming out with. But the second she was asked to identify the sex of these animals, she hadn't got a clue. And I said to Sam, if she was talking to these animals on the level she's claiming she's talking to them, they would have no trouble saying to her, "I'm a boy" or "I'm a girl." None whatsoever.
So has this person only just started reading animals?
No, she claims she's read Judge Rinders and all sorts of famous celebrities over here. Complete and utter whack job. Yeah, complete and utter whack job. And I said to Sam, she's one of these people, she's looked for a niche in the paranormal that there aren't many people involved in, and she is now milking it for cash for all she's worth. And at the end of the thing, she spent about 5 minutes trying to sell people various books she's written and various tarot cards that she's created and stuff like that. She even held an example up of one of her tarot cards. and they were pictures that her kids had took, and it was a picture of London. And she says, "Oh, if you get this card, it means you go into London." I was in absolute stitches. I said to Sam, "There is no way a tarot card is ever that specific to the point." So, by that logic, she needs to have a tarot card for every single location on Earth, before they become relevant. She actually waved it, and they were literally family snapshots, and she was trying to charge people 23 quid for a pack of them. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it actually is a new trend that's happening now on YouTube. Steve Hope has been talking to dogs. Josh Hope has been talking to cats. So you're going to see there's a lot of people that will copy those people in the line of ITC. You're going to see this animal communication start. Now, there is no scientific basis that animals can communicate to you in the English language. It's just not going to happen.
I do believe it's possible for a dog to pass on an emotional type of communication, but not to the extent this woman was doing it. Like I said, she was even claiming this one woman's little terrier that she'd seen running around on this video was actually stating the exact name of a town they were going on holiday to. And watching the people as they were responding, she was saying something and they were literally making what she was saying fit, even if it wasn't actually correct what she'd said. Like, even the guy who was co-hosting with her, she mentioned something about a skin problem, and he went off on a tangent of, "Oh yeah, I've got which was nothing to do with his skin." And I thought, you people don't even realise how much you are falling for this barn. And it is a box standard thing with fake mediums where they do all these Barnum statements that are literally so generalised they would apply to anybody. And they were literally making every single thing this woman said fit, even though if you looked at it logically, what she was telling them was not actually fitting the answers they were giving her back and making fit.
There was very few people in the chat, but I came in under an alias and I says, I'm scratching my head right now. I don't understand. They purposely avoided that question. They didn't even want to explain to me how this works. I says, I don't know how this works. I really don't understand this at all. I'm confused. No one helped me.
That'd be like me turning around to you, Brett, who is a middle-aged man, and saying, "Oh, I can see you've been having some health issues lately." Yeah. Who is middle-aged that doesn't have health issues?
Exactly.
And then you'd be like, "Oh yes, I have had this happen." You're feeding me information.
Yeah. And I was talking to Sam all the way through it, and I said, "This is absolutely riddled," and it was literally nothing but Barnum statements and cold reading from start to finish. But she spent, was it about 10 minutes at the end, Sam, flogging all the different merchandise?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely mad as a box of frogs.
Yeah.
It was hilarious, though.
But it was funny, but this is the level that YouTube Paranormal has dropped to now, where you have got grown adults sitting there actually believing, and for want of a better word, that's bullshit. Because that's basically what it was.
I think a lot of belief is when somebody says they've been on television and they've wrote books, and they put themselves on that high level of importance. You'll see that in Steve Huff. You will then get more people that will believe that person. And Steve Huff is a prime example of that. In the beginning, he was, he used ordinary spurt boxes. He was no different than me or anybody else. He was actually getting good communication. But then he decided to put himself on this pedestal. And that's when he has put himself in that position where he can come out with anything he wants, and he can get this fan base that will believe everything he's told, everything that he tells them. And no matter how much you try to explain to them in a logical sense, they will not. They will refuse to deviate from that belief, because that person is in high authority. They put themselves in that high authority. When they, come out with, I've been on television, I've wrote these books, I've been on radio programs. They're putting themselves on that high level. So they put themselves in that high level of authority. So a lot of people say, well, whatever she's coming out with must be true. They've been on the television, they've been on the radio.
And this is why I always reinforce to people over and over and over again, no matter how much you enjoy listening to somebody, don't take everything they say as gospel, because in this field, nobody can say that what they're saying is true. All you can tell people is what you believe to be true, and it's not necessarily right.
She might be a nice lady, but I think she's going down a narrative. There is business attached to it, which you would question. But she actually is going down the same route as a lot of paid psychics and stuff like that. They're using the same method of generalization, which may sound to the untrained ear that they've cracked onto something, but their line of questioning will cover a broad spectrum. The more you put out that net, what they do is they throw whatever thing they can at a wall until something sticks. But they'll latch onto whatever sticks, but they'll dismiss whatever doesn't.
Yeah.
To make themselves sound legitimate, if you know where I'm coming from.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. But we had a good laugh. It was great.
We did. It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. Honestly, some of these dogs had got a better grasp of the English language than most people. They really had.
Oh yeah, big time.
When I started watching it, I was just sitting there and I'm going, my mouth was gaped open, and I'm just I couldn't believe it. Like,
you've seen it too. You've seen it too, did you?
I sent her a link to watch it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Probably a nice lady, but I mean, like, mad as a box of frogs.
Yeah, not the choices though.
Do you know?
Yeah, when you've got people believing that people are communicating with animals and deities on that level, there's big problems in the paranormal community. Big problems.
Yeah.
People think that the English language is a universal language, not just an earthly language. The English language was invented by man. It's not. Do you know what I mean? So that kind of puts a little bit of a spanner in the works, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you are going to see an increase in this trend and ITC of communication with animals, and animals talking through the spirit box in the English language. It is physically impossible. I know a lot of things in the paranormal are completely impossible, but this goes on a completely different level.
Yeah, but what made it worse for that woman, Sam, was these animals weren't even dead, so she can't even use the excuse that they evolved once they passed over. These were all perfectly live pets of people.
Yeah.
And it's like I said to Sam, if they could communicate to that level, you could take them to the vets, and they could just tell the vet what was wrong with them.
That's right.
It was that kind of thing.
There is no
way an animal could communicate. A live animal could compute, even if they, and I ain't saying it's possible when they pass over, but certainly not possible with live animals. I'll be right back, Jason. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know, the question I had going through my head is, if she picked a certain illness that wasn't physically obvious or whatever. Could she track down that illness, and could it be verified by a vet? This is very possible, but you don't see these experiments happening.
Jace!
Ignore him snogging the dog in the background.
Yeah.
What I was saying there, Brett, is you don't often see. This could be put to bed. This could be proven. If an animal had an illness that wasn't physically obvious or whatever, if she had this ability, she could indicate this illness, then it could be verified by a veterinary surgeon.
Yeah.
But you never see these things happening. You never see these proofs happening. So I'm very, very skeptical of all of this.
Yeah. You imagine the amount of money that woman is raking in off doing this. And then you've got other idiots claiming to talk to John the Baptist and Jesus and stuff like that. And I know we laugh, but you have got hundreds and thousands of people out there on YouTube believing every word that these people are saying.
Yeah, the reason why I mentioned John the Baptist in my sessions and Scooby-Doo is because at some point I'm hoping to demonstrate that these communicators can actually copy what you say.
Yeah.
And hopefully someday I will get coming back to me the name John the Baptist, but that doesn't mean anything. It's just a name.
Yeah, exactly.
People grab tiny little bits of information and then fill in the gaps with their imagination. Sometimes that's what happens a lot of times.
Yeah, and this is why you're finding people are branching out into these niche areas now, because they're struggling. Money's dropping off in the mainstream topics, so they're now looking for the niche areas to exploit, and you'll find it happens to be the people who are well known for milking their viewers who are doing it.
Yeah, try and look for something that somebody else hasn't done, and it doesn't matter if it's bullshit or not.
Nod says my dog did indicate today that my dad was unwell. He could smell something that was not right. There are dogs that are actually out there that are trained to detect things like the onset of seizures and stuff like that, and they detect them just before they happen. It's also been proven that dogs can also smell cancer in a human body.
That's right, yes.
So they're using them now to detect cancer.
Sky's dog is actually a collie dog, which is one of our most intelligent breeds. Yeah.
Well, they are the most intelligent breed, the collie.
Yeah.
If it's a border collie.
Yeah, it's a black and white border collie.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to have to love and leave you. We've been on for nearly 3.5 hours, and Jason.
I'm going to end it too. I've had enough. My back's aching, and
You need to get back to your cucumber.
I got to go and check the fire again to make sure it's all right. And you're terrible.
Don't forget to Photoshop that section, Sam.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and I'm going to screenshot that and do something with it this week.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, everybody, we're going to say goodbye, but thank you for hanging around with us this evening. Thank you for Sam and Brett for joining me.
Thank you for having us on.
Thanks very much for having us on.
Will do. And
thank you, everybody.
We'll see you all next week.
Yeah. See you next week.
Bye.